Chapter 1105. And they cleaned it again and again. There must be a reason behind it. But what exactly is the reason? Why can't I understand it? If none of the 5 of them go back, they will definitely be suspicious. But this little girl seems to be very smart. There must be a reason for her to do this. Let me use the thinking of the number 1 detective in the past to make a good deduction. After a long time, Lei Changtian, who was still confused, sighed. I can't figure it out. There is only one truth. But where is it? Then he frowned and pondered while flying toward the city. But after flying for a long time, he didn't find any trace of his grandson and granddaughter. He was a little confused. Where did they go? Where are they? Then he flew to Zhou Xiaoyan's place anxiously. But there was no one there. Fuck. Lei Changtian was anxious. How did we lose them again? I drove by Yunduo away, but I lost them again? And this time we lost them both at once? Fuck. Old Devil Lei was completely bewildered. After Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan flew down the mountain, they immediately found a hidden place to hide. Then they entered the space-destroying tower. He. Why did you clean up the mountain? Is it necessary? Or do you have a backup plan? It's not necessary. What backup can I have? I just cleaned it up so that we don't have to look at it anymore. Out of sight, out of mind, isn't it? Out of sight, out of mind? Is that what you mean? Deceiving others. You obviously suspect that there is someone above us. So, you purposely created a useless mountain for them to figure out. And then we can take the opportunity to slip away, right? You must have planned it this way, right? Of course. Zhou Xiaoyan was very proud. Although the person who helped us probably didn't mean us any harm, it's not impossible that the enemy did it on purpose. At this time, life and death are at stake. It's better to be cautious. That's amazing. My Nian cat is so smart. She's beautiful and intelligent. She's really my good wife. Now you know how powerful I am? Amazing, really amazing. No matter who it is, let him think about my intentions in front of a frozen mountain. Let's get down to business first. Serious business? Zhou Xiaoduo's interest was piqued. Bridal chamber? Get lost. Zhou Xiaoyan blushed and kicked the puppy to the ground. Interrogation. What dirty things are you thinking about? Dogs can't change their habit of eating. You. Zhou Xiaoduo arranged the 5 people in a row. 3 of them looked better than charcoal. Their faces and bodies were covered in burns. That was the result of being turned into charcoal. The 2 who didn't turn into charcoal looked like human limbs. In any case, the 5 of them didn't look human at all. However, the 5 of them were dejected and had a look of despair on their faces. Nevertheless, it was undeniable that each of them was breathing well. They could be considered healthy. Except for the fact that they couldn't move, their bodies were damaged, and their dantians were destroyed, they could be considered healthy. Even their spirits were not bad. Zhou Xiaoduo stood in front of the 5 and sneered, "The 5 of you, we meet again in the mountains and rivers. And this time, we can sit down and have a good chat. It's not easy to be so calm and peaceful." The 5 of them didn't say a word. Their faces were ashen as if they were dead. To put it bluntly, after cultivating to the sky realm, they had already left the realm of mortals. After so many years of life and death battles, which one of them couldn't see through life and death? Everyone felt that they had already seen through everything. What was the point of extorting a confession through torture? It was nothing more than some physical pain. After enduring it, they would just die. They still had this bit of confidence. After all, their dantians were destroyed, and their cultivation path was completely cut off. Furthermore, they had fallen to their current state. It would be more accurate to say that they had nothing left to live for. Therefore, no matter how this grandson in front of them spouted nonsense, the 5 of them remained indifferent and ignored him. Don't even think about getting any information from us. The 5 of you, today's environment and your positions really make me sigh. I didn't expect the 5 of you to be so high and mighty just a moment ago, thinking that everything was under your control. But now, all of you are kneeling in front of me. This really makes me sigh. Every dog has its day. I really feel that this sentence makes a lot of sense. They still didn't say a word. I know that each of you is a tough nut to crack. But you should also know that after falling into my hands, the possibility of you continuing to live is not zero. Instead, it's zero. There's no more luck. Zhuoxiao Duo said with a smile, but I still want to know some things from your mouths. So, it's a little difficult for old and tough nuts like you, right? The five of them raised their heads and glanced at Zhuoxiao Duo with contempt. They still didn't say a word. However, if you want to die a quick death in my hands, it won't be that easy. Don't tell me you don't want to die a quick death? Zhuoxiao Duo asked. The contempt was still there. Are you really that unafraid of death? Aren't you afraid of torture? The contempt was still there. Good men, I like good men the most. Zhuoxiao Duo laughed loudly. Don't worry, what we have the most right now is time. A contemptuous look. It was still a contemptuous look. Watch carefully. Don't be afraid and don't be surprised. Suddenly, he pulled out one of the bodies that was relatively intact. Without saying a word, he swung the sword in his hand and slashed it 400 to 500 times in a row. That guy's body was densely covered in cuts and bruises. His body was riddled with wounds and blood immediately gushed out like a fountain. However, the five of them still didn't show any fear. They even looked at him with contempt. That's it? The person who was being tortured gritted his teeth. He didn't say a word throughout the whole process. His expression didn't change. After all, this scene had long been within their expectations. It wasn't surprising at all. What was there to be afraid of? What a tough nut to crack. The surprises keep coming. Take your time to savor them. After saying that, Zhuoxiao Duo took out a jar of fine sand salt and slowly sprinkled it on the man. The man trembled all over and broke out in a cold sweat. However, he still didn't say a word and his expression didn't change. He took out another jar of honey and smeared some on the wounds all over his body. Then he waved his hand. This time, along with the wave of his hand, countless bees, ants, scorpions, flies, all kinds of poisonous insects, and a few snakes. A sweet fragrance filled the air. These things crawled over one after another in search of the fragrance. In just a short while, they had already crawled all over the man's body. This time, the five people's expressions finally changed. Especially the man who was covered in strange things, he finally couldn't help but howl, "Kill me! This is nothing. Didn't I say that the surprises keep coming? We just have to savor them." The four people couldn't bear to watch anymore. The man continued to struggle in pain and howl. A full 3 hours later, finally, he didn't even have the strength to moan anymore, causing the extreme scene to stagnate. This man was tough and determined. He still didn't say a word in such a situation. It looked like he was about to die. He was on his last breath that the muscles on the other four people's faces twitched. Their eyes were full of hatred, but there was also a little envy. They seemed to be envious that their companion had died just like that. He was finally free and didn't have to be tortured anymore. The four people were very clear that with the injuries they had suffered, even if they had miraculous pills and miraculous doctors, they wouldn't be able to save them. How could they live when their blood had dried up? How could they live when their source of origin was exhausted? How is it? Zhuoxiao Duo asked with a smile. Naive. The leader of the masked men in black sneered, "If this is all you can do, I advise you to kill us quickly. Don't be wishful thinking and waste a good time. This is all you can do to scare ordinary people, but for us, hee. Zhuoxiao Duo said with a smile, "Alas, this is what I'm relying on, but there's a follow-up to this. There's no need to rush. This is just the beginning. Didn't I say it several times? The surprises keep coming. We have plenty of time, so please continue to savor them." After saying that, he waved his hand again. The torrent fell from the sky and washed away the dying man in an instant. The man had stopped breathing, but his body was still warm. But he was already dead. But the next moment, a stone suddenly appeared in Zhuoxiao's hand. He said with a smile, "Let's continue with the surprises. Let me show you a magic trick. I guarantee that you will be very surprised, and very suspicious." As he said that, he threw the small stone on the dead man. Then that the other four people didn't know what was going on. They were gradually trembling, and their eyes were gradually filled with shock and horror that the man who had just died was breathing again. Starting from his chest, his breathing gradually became more and more powerful. The countless wounds on his body, which had turned white after being washed by the water, healed at a rate visible to the naked eye that it only took a few breaths. When Zhuoxiaoduo put away the small stone, the man had completely recovered. His torso was even healthier than before he was tortured. There was not a single scar on his body. Even some old scars had disappeared. The four people's bodies trembled uncontrollably. Their eyes were gradually filled with fear. Where am I? The man on the ground opened his eyes and sighed, I'm finally free. It's so comfortable. It turns out that it's so comfortable to die. Suddenly, he saw the four people in front of him who looked as if they had seen ghosts. He was stunned. This. The four people's eyes were full of sorrow and horror. The moment they turned their heads, they saw Zhuoxiaoduo's devilish smile. They couldn't help but be stunned. Then they screamed, What's going on? Chapter 1106. It's very simple. You're not dead yet. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Zhuoxiaoduo said with a smile, If I don't let you die, can you die? Is this game fun? Do you want to play it for a long time? The breathing of the five people became heavy at the same time, and they stared at Zhuoxiaoduo. If looks could kill, Zhuoxiaoduo's body would have been full of holes and fragmented. Do you know what this is? Zhuoxiaoduo held the sky-mending stone in his hand and began to explain, It looks like a very ordinary small stone, right? But what I want to tell you is that this stone is the legendary sky-mending stone of Her Majesty Emperor Envua. He pointed to the top of his head. I believe you should have heard that when the sky collapsed, it was Her Majesty Emperor Envua who mended the sky and made it flawless. Because of this, Her Majesty Emperor Envu became a saint. And this stone was left behind by Her Majesty Emperor Envua. Even the sky can be mended, let alone the body. Zhuoxiaoduo said with a smile, I know you don't believe it and have doubts. But it doesn't matter. Facts speak louder than words. We have plenty of time. I will make you believe in the efficacy of this stone without any doubt. Next, it's time for the others to perform. Next, the nightmare of these five people really showed itself. Everyone ensured that their minds were absolutely clear, and their nerves were very tenacious. They endured the process of being tortured from life to death, and then coming back from the dead. Every time, four people watched one person being tortured. Each punishment was more or less the same. It was even very ordinary. It was nothing more than the same thing. After one round, Zhuoxiaoduo continued to calmly start the second round, the second round, the second round, and in the second round, the true cruelty of the competition began. Because in the first round, their bodies were all riddled with holes and seriously injured. Although they had been treated, their spirits were slightly better. There was always a limit to the pain in their bodies. However, at the end of the first round, everyone's bodies had been completely restored, and the second round of punishment was a completely new and extreme process. It was like a person who had just experienced half death and was disheartened. He would not be afraid of death and would even yearn for death. He would be able to end everything and be completely free. At this time, it did not matter how you tortured him because he knew that he might lose consciousness in the next moment. As long as he held on for a while longer, he would be free. However, if a person who had just experienced perfect health was then tortured to death, that was completely different. It was completely different. It was completely different from before. It would be a qualitative change that would lead to a qualitative change. As expected, the second time, the screams were much louder and more intense than the first time. The five of them gritted their teeth and stared at the small stone in Zhuoxiaoduo's hand. Everyone was praying or hoping that the little rock would quickly exhaust its energy so that they could be freed, that even if it was the heaven-mending stone, it was only such a small piece. With the consumption of the flesh and bones resurrection, its energy should be exhausted very soon, right? However, the five of them were disappointed to find that there was almost no change in the little rock. There was really almost no change. After 10 consecutive resurrections, there was almost no sign of it fading. However, the five of them were very experienced, and their eyes were sharp. They were able to see the slight difference between the two. However, the result of their calculation was that when the little rock completely exhausted its energy, the 5 of them would have to go through at least a few hundred times. After coming to this conclusion, their hearts trembled and they shuddered. Although they did not know exactly how many times, one thing was certain. They estimated that they would not be able to hold on until the little rock exhausted its energy. However, the 5 of them still had a little bit of wishful thinking in their hearts. You are willing to waste such a precious thing on us like this? So, if we grit our teeth, maybe we can get through it? However, in the next moment, when they saw another larger piece of 5-colored stone, which was more than 10 times bigger than the previous little rock, appear, they all collapsed at the same time. The little rock just now looked colorless, but it could still bring the 5 of them back to life a few hundred times. Then what kind of power would this bigger one, which even showed a colorful luster, have? What's more, when someone was tortured again, Zhuoxiao Duo threw the big 5-colored stone over from a few meters away. The 5 of them completely collapsed. Because this time it was even faster. The recovery was even faster. In the blink of an eye, all the injured people had recovered. How is it? I told you that there would be surprises coming one after another, right? Let's play slowly, we have a lot of time. Zhuoxiao Duo walked over leisurely and put away the 5-colored sky-mending stone. My teacher was killed by you. How can I let you go so easily? I will kill everyone on your side 100 times, 1,000 times. Remember, it's each and every one of you. I will torture you slowly. 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. As long as I don't want you to die, you won't die. I know that you are stubborn. I also know that you can resist. But I am really not in a hurry. I want to see how long you can hold on. It doesn't matter if you don't tell me anything, because I will know sooner or later. I also know that the dragons fighting for the heritage are right in front of me. Your plan will eventually appear in front of me. As long as I act like I am going to escape from the city, you will be nervous and will act rashly. Once you are nervous and act rashly, you will come to catch me. So, it doesn't matter if you don't tell me. I will wait. I will run once today and again tomorrow. I believe that I will catch new people very soon. I believe that you already know the level of our strength. After today's battle, you should know very well that even if a Dao integration stage expert comes, it will be impossible for him to catch us. Even if we can't beat him, we can at least run away, right? So, let's play slowly, continue to play, and play for a long time. Zhuoxiao Duo spoke slowly from the beginning to the end, with a calm smile on his face. However, the 5 people opposite him were trembling all over. They knew that Zhuoxiao Duo was not bragging. Everything he said was the truth. To us. The reality. He did have the opportunity and the ability. Moreover, everything he said could be put into action and become a reality. Are you going to say it or not? The 5 of them were silent. It's okay, we have plenty of time. Let's go through another round of reincarnation. Who wants to go first? Zhuoxiao Duo laughed heartily and flashed his long sword again. This round, when he tortured the 4th person, someone finally could not take it anymore. Give him a quick death, I will speak. No! Zhuoxiao Duo shook his head. I said that 1 round of reincarnation means 1 round of reincarnation. 1 round of reincarnation means that all 5 of us have to go through 1 round of reincarnation. If you tell the truth now, won't you make me go back on my word? A man's word is a man of his word. He actually did the same to the 5th person while the 5 people were cursing him. Then he asked, who wanted to speak just now? A man's word is a man of his word, but where is the credibility of a man? The 5 people gritted their teeth and looked at him as if they wanted to eat him alive. The person who said that he wanted to speak earlier said, I will speak. What about the 4 of you? Are you still not going to speak? The 4 of them were still silent. Well, there is only one thing that I can't say. Firstly, I don't like this. Secondly, without a reference, who knows if you are telling the truth? Thirdly, you are not of one mind. Come, let's go through another round of reincarnation. Without giving the other party any room to speak, Zhuoxiao Duo started to torture him again without saying a word. I already said that I will tell you. I can tell you whatever you want to know. Why are you still doing it? The fifth person roared. So you still don't understand the situation? Zhuo Duo smiled. I just want to torture you a few more times to avenge my master. In the midst of the five people's angry curses, he went through another round of reincarnation, but then he asked again, how many of you are willing to speak now? Is there anyone who still doesn't want to speak? I will speak. I will speak. I will speak. I will speak. Only the leader, the masked man in black, kept his mouth tightly shut and looked desolate. For against one? Then if there is anyone who is unwilling to speak, let's go through another round of reincarnation. Zhuo Duo said coldly. I will speak. The leader of the men in black looked up and stared at Zhuo Duo. Give us a quick death. It's too late. Wait for the next round. Zhuo Duo started a new round of reincarnation again. After being tortured this time, the five people whose minds were completely shattered did not even have the urge to curse. They only screamed and begged for mercy. All of them screamed, please kill me. I will speak. I will tell you everything. Zhuo Duo finally started the interrogation. Or rather, he allowed these five people to be interrogated. His method was simple and crude. He did not interrogate them separately. Instead, he slapped four of them until they fainted, leaving only one alive. Speak. After the first one finished speaking, he woke the second one up and slapped the first one unconscious again. Speak. Then, he did the same to the third one. The statements of the five people were basically the same, with only a few minor differences. Obviously, the four of them had already accepted their fate and did not dare to have any other thoughts. They only wanted to get rid of the nightmare as soon as possible and get away from Zhuo Duo, the creator of nightmares. Where are you from? Astral Soul's continent. What is your current position? No position. I used to follow the clan's battle team and fought at the Sun Moon Pass. Why did you retire? Not retired. You are a member of the clan. Every 10 years, you will be rotated. Under special circumstances, you can apply. Did you advance to the Sky Realm while you were in the army at the Sun Moon Pass? After experiencing life and death in the Sun Moon Pass, I relied on the accumulated resources to advance to the Sky Realm after returning to the clan. Zhuo Duo nodded. This could be considered as solving one of his previous doubts, as he discovered that these five-peak Skysoar Realm experts only had experience. In terms of actual combat prowess, they were much weaker than the peak Skysoar Realm experts that he had fought against in the Demon Spirit Forest. How many times did you suppress a peak profound returning realm expert? 5 times. 5 times? They can be considered as geniuses of the Astral Soul's continent. They are the best of the best. Zhuo Duo sighed. These questions seemed to be useless, but it was enough for Zhuo Duo to remove himself from the military's subservience. If it was the disciples of the family who took turns to train, just like some of the smaller families in Fenghai, the disciples of the family were forced to recruit soldiers. A family, however many men and how many warriors, would serve in the Sun Moon Pass according to the ratio. Once the minimum number of years of service was reached, the clan would be allowed to replace them with other people. As long as the number of people serving in the military was not lower than this number, it was within the scope of the regulations. This was also the price the great clans had to pay to enjoy the glory of their ancestors. Regardless of whether these people were willing or not, they had to set foot on the battlefield for a period of time. This practice was fundamentally different from the soldiers of the 4 armies who had been stationed at the border for a long time. Although during wartime, they were also enlisted soldiers and had to fight bloody battles to protect the country, the original intention in their bones was completely different. Most of the members of these clans who served in the military would not choose to break through in the Sun Moon Pass. 99% of them would return to their clans after gaining experience in the Sun Moon Pass and rely on piling up resources to finally break through. This made Zhuo Duo look down on this group of people even more. Which clan are you from? Here came the main event. When Zhuo Duo asked this question, he could clearly sense the hesitation of the people in front of him. Wang clan. Are you sure? I'm sure. I advise you to think carefully before answering. I hope to get the same answer. If the 5 of you don't agree, it means that one of you is lying. You should know the consequences very well. I'm sure. Well, Wang clan. Are you direct descendants or adopted? Or was it his family? Collateral relatives? Adopted. Oh, adopted. The so-called adopted children were orphans and infants with martial arts aptitudes collected by the major clans with large amounts of resources. They were raised from a young age, and the men of sacrifice trained by these clans were mostly selected from these people. Usually, these people were loyal and devoted. After all, they were not related by blood, but they raised them up and gave them a lifetime of prospects and skills. How could they not be grateful? This clan used this kind of gratitude and mentality to completely brainwash these people into becoming loyal to the clan. As for adopted children, they were one level lower. Adopted children referred to the children of these men of sacrifice who were married and had children. They were born in this clan from a young age. Housekeepers, stewards, external affairs, deacons, accountants, shopkeepers, guards, and so on were generally selected from these people. After that, they were blood relatives in a literal sense. There was no need to go into detail here. In the astral souls continent, there was a strange phenomenon. Even before the destruction of the world, the continent had abolished slavery and feudalism. However, these clans cleverly took advantage of this and created such loyal men. Moreover, as time passed, more and more clans realized that in a person's life, from a certain perspective, they needed to have faith and a goal to be loyal to. From a certain perspective, if a person did not have a target to be loyal to, and did not have a life goal that he firmly believed in, such a person would not achieve much. Once a person lacked passion, fanaticism, and concentration, it was inevitable that he would change his mind. There would be no concept of loyalty in his heart. Naturally, there would be no passion for the person he was loyal to, and his life would pass by in a muddle-headed manner. Therefore, these clans did the opposite. From a young age, they were instilled with the idea that, in a person's life, there must be a goal to strive for, and the person who strives for it is the Lord who is the backbone of the clan. In ancient times, it was said that if one learned martial arts, they would be sold to the royal family. And before they were sold to the royal family, there was another way, and that was to become the disciple of the person who taught them, and this kind of relationship was usually more serious and stable than that of a loyal ruler. Most people would never betray or have a rebellious heart in their life. Why did a general have to have a personal guard when he went to war? What was a personal guard? It was a person who would use his or her life in exchange for the general's survival. That was a personal guard. They did not have a life of their own, and they lived for this person their whole life. The topic had been diverted. To put it simply, these clans had recreated the embryonic form of a feudal society within their own clans. And this kind of effect was surprisingly good, unexpectedly good. In a person's life, there were a lot of components in their genes. It was pride and ambition, but there was also a certain part of it that was servility. The difference was just that it depended on how the person dug it out, used it, and controlled it. That was all. In fact, the fact that Zhuo Duo was able to pry open the mouths of these people was just another manifestation of his servility. After answering the first key question, the so-called loyalty and sense of honor would all go down the drain, and there would be no more reservations. Wang clan, why is this the cause of this matter? Why do you want to deal with me? Well, we really don't know the specific reason. We are far from being involved in the decision-making. We just received orders from our master and carried them out. What is the specific content of the order? We must lure Zhuo Duo to Shangjing before the dragon scramble for the heritage. We must also ensure that Zhuo Duo will not leave Shangjing during the dragon scramble for the heritage. At the same time, he cannot participate in the dragon scramble for the heritage. This order is very thought-provoking. Zhuo Duo touched his chin and pondered. This order made him feel confused. What else? For this goal, we can act at our discretion. Act at our discretion? Qin Fangyang is just a bait. Ever since he entered Ancestral Dragon of Shangjing, he has been under our family's surveillance. He is the best tool we can use. As long as we kill him, we can lure you to Shangjing. As long as we keep an eye on you, we can make a move at any time. Taking you down and controlling you will ensure that the mission is foolproof. This is the first reason. What's the second reason? He-Yuan-Yue's grave in Phoenix City is also one of the targets of our plan. If Qin Fangyang fails, we will take action to destroy He-Yuan-Yue's grave and expose her bones in the wilderness. The living may be able to escape, but the dead will not move by themselves. As long as we leave clues, you will naturally come to Shangjing and walk into the trap. We just need to wait for the right time. Zhou Xiaoduo suddenly felt that his breath was stuck in his chest. In an instant, he felt that he was so angry that he wanted to destroy the world. Huff, huff. Zhou Xiaoduo gasped for breath, enduring the pain and anger in his heart. Is there a third plan, another backup plan? The third plan is to kill Li Changjiang and Hu Ruiyun in Phoenix City and leave clues in Shangjing. As for the rest, we will deal with them as usual. The fourth plan is to destroy the second high school in Phoenix City. The fifth plan is to rape and kill Zhu Xiaoyan. Originally, your parents, Zhu Changlu and Wu Yuding, were also on our list of targets to kill. They were also the first choice in our plan. But your parents suddenly disappeared and we can't find their whereabouts, so. The masked man in black was particularly straightforward this time. He explained all the plans one by one. Zhou Xiaoduo felt a chill down his spine as he listened. He had to admit that the masked man's understanding of him was extremely thorough. As long as any one of these things happened, he would definitely come to Shangjing on his own accord. Moreover, he would spare no effort to pursue them to Shangjing as soon as possible. If he could not figure out the whole story, take revenge, and destroy all his enemies, he would definitely not leave. If that was the case, wouldn't he be stepping into the trap that the other party had set in advance? How many of these plans have you carried out? Zhou Xiaoduo's heart skipped a beat. His voice turned impatient. The first and second. The masked man in black said, after Qin Fangyang was killed. There was no news about you for a short period of time. Because they weren't sure of your whereabouts, there was already a second group of people who went to Phoenix City. They planned to destroy He-Yuan-Yue's grave first and then stay in Phoenix City to wait for further news. However, the progress of the matter over there is temporarily unknown. They only left for a day and there was news about you. Bastard! Zhou Xiaoduo suddenly flew into a rage. His fists and feet flew everywhere. After a series of wild punches, the masked man in black in front of him was smashed into pieces. Finally, he still had a bit of clarity. He used the heaven-mending stone to wake him up again. Then he repeatedly tormented him. His punches were deeply carved into his flesh and bones. Zhou Xiaoduo was really mad. According to the time, the other side's plan to destroy He-Yuan-Yue's grave was most likely already in action. He was in Shangjing and was too far away to stop it no matter what. Zhou Xiaoduo only felt that his internal organs were about to explode at this moment. Qin Fangyang was killed in Shangjing and He-Yuan-Yue's grave was destroyed in Phoenix City. This kind of heart-wrenching pain made Zhou Xiaoduo unable to breathe. How could you? How dare you? How could you? How dare you? How dare you? Do you still have the slightest bit of conscience? Two respectable teachers who have dedicated their lives to the astral soul's mainland. How could you? Chapter 1107. Zhou Xiaoduo was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was so angry that he saw stars. If you still have a little bit of humanity left in you, I don't want you to have a conscience, but have you lost even a little bit of humanity? The Wang family. The Wang family. Zhou Xiaoduo made a heartfelt vow. This time, even if I have to bear the world's infamy, I will wipe out your entire family. Men, women, old and young, not a single one of you will be spared. Even if you're just a baby, I, Zhou Xiaoduo, will kill you with my own hands. Zhou Xiaoduo was so angry that his hair stood on end. Zhou Xiaoyan, who was beside him, was also furious. She held the hilt of her sword tightly. If it weren't for the fact that he wanted to get all the information, Zhou Xiaoyan would have rushed forward and slashed the masked man in front of him into pieces. When Zhou Xiaoduo started the interrogation, his methods were cruel. Zhou Xiaoyan didn't mind, but she didn't want to see Zhou Xiao Duo like this. Therefore, she didn't participate in the interrogation. Instead, she practiced and waited from afar. However, after hearing about the targets, Zhou Xiaoyan even wanted to carry out the punishment herself. The word scum wasn't enough to describe what these people had done. The masked man in black was tortured several times. He didn't have the slightest bit of anger anymore. There was no hope in his eyes. He just told them what they wanted to know mechanically. He only hoped that after he finished, the 5 of them would say the same thing and die quickly. That would be the greatest relief for him. You don't know the real target and purpose. Then which other families are involved? You should know, right? 4 of the clans have already been eliminated. The Fan family? The Lu family? The Bai family? The Yin family? Yes. Which other families? The head steward of the Huangfu family contacted us. The second prince and the third prince also contacted us. However, during this time, the third prince's people were being monitored. We cut off contact with them. And there's also a group of mysterious people, but we don't know their origins. I only know that there was a woman among them, a very young woman. How did you know? There was one time when they met in secret. We were guarding outside, and those people came and went without a trace. But one thing was for sure. When we went in to clean up, there was still the scent of a woman. Then how do you know he's young? All these years. We've played with quite a lot of women. Everyone has some ability to distinguish a woman's aura. Just from the aura left behind, we can tell that the other party is a young beauty, and most likely a virgin. You can actually smell it? Zhou Xiao Duo scratched his head, feeling that it was very profound, but now was not the time to think about this. The Huangfu family, the second prince, the third prince, and the mysterious person. The Wang family. Zhou Xiao Duo murmured. The murderous intent in his eyes had solidified. As for the slight differences, it was limited to the details of their work. It didn't affect the big picture. Zhou Xiao Duo could more or less determine the functions of these 5 people. They were the high-level fighters who listened to the orders of the master. They weren't considered high-level fighters, but they weren't considered low-level fighters either. It was probably a gold medal team that only the absolute upper echelons could order around. It was a high-end combat power. And these people were called the Action Team in the Wang family. This name was really fucking high and mighty. As the name implied, they were only responsible for operations, only responsible for fighting and killing. But when it came to decision-making, management, and handling, they didn't participate in any of it. To put it more simply, the master spoke and the rough men acted. The latter listened to orders and didn't leave anything else. And there was more than one such action team in the Wang family. It was just that they didn't belong to each other, and they weren't familiar with each other. They were limited to knowing each other's existence. And after determining their respective functions, they immediately belonged to each other. From then on, other than their own work, they didn't need to care about anything else, let alone inquire about it. The clear division of labor and strict discipline made Zhou Xiaoduo's scalp tingle and shudder. In addition to the action team, there was also the assassination team, the pusher team, and so on. The moment he heard the name of the pusher team, Zhou Xiaoduo unexpectedly remembered something from the past. It was the past of Vice Principal Shi Yunfeng of Hidden Dragon High School. Although Vice Principal Shi was now rehabilitated and his reputation was cleared, the mastermind behind the waves on the internet back then hadn't really been caught. Now, the so-called pusher team of the Wang family touched Zhou Xiaoduo's sensitive nerves at this sensitive time. Zhou Xiaoduo's eyes flashed with a bloody light. He faintly felt that he might have found the source of the matter this time. And this source was actually a colossus that had stood tall for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, deeply rooted in the astral souls of the human race's upper echelons. Even Skysoar realm experts, these top-notch experts of the human race, actually had so many teams in the Wang family, divided into different categories. What kind of concept was this? Although it wasn't the kind of peak Skysoar realm experts that had been tempered through bloody battles, this kind of accumulation of Skysoar realm experts was still enough to make people flabbergasted. Let's not talk about anything else, just take the 5 people in front of them as an example. If there were more than 5 people, as long as there were more than 10 people, and the other party didn't underestimate them and Zhuoxiao Duo and Zhuoxiao Nian didn't escape, Zhuoxiao Duo and Zhuoxiao Nian might not dare to say that they would win. Even if they won, they would have to pay a considerable price. Don't forget, the Wang family didn't only have the action team, they also had the assassination team. Their combat strength couldn't be underestimated, and their lethality was even greater. While the whole continent was engaged in bloody battles at the Sun Moon Pass, and millions of hot-blooded men were spilling their blood, a single family actually hid such a powerful force. The Wang family! Zhuoxiao Duo roared at the sky. How can such a malignant tumor family survive until now? Malignant tumor family? Even the person being interrogated had a mocking look in his eyes. Zhuoxiao Nian sighed. The Wang family? The Wang family is not ordinary. Zhuoxiao Duo frowned. This Wang family, what kind of background does it have? Zhuoxiao Nian sighed and recalled the information about the Wang family that she had obtained from the 9 Heavens Pavilions database. The more she thought about it, the more she sighed. Gradually, her heart was filled with melancholy and frustration. Duo, the Wang family is not so easy to deal with. How is it not easy? The Wang family is not an ordinary family. If our enemy this time is destined to be the Wang family, then we have to plan for the long term. Zhuoxiao Nian suppressed her hatred and said, I also want to uproot the Wang family now, but we can't act rashly. We have to plan carefully before we act, and we can't afford to be careless. Zhuoxiao Duo refused to accept this and asked, why? Do we have to keep such a family alive? Of course not. Zhuoxiao Nian sighed. Let's put it this way. Even if something happened to the Yu family, which is ranked first among the aristocratic families, with the celestial emperor Zhai Xing and the heavenly king of the right, they might be able to deal with it as they should. However, the Wang family has a special characteristic that even the Yu family doesn't have. What special characteristic is that? Because the elders of the Wang family sacrificed themselves heroically for the future of the continent. Zhuoxiao Nian let out a long sigh. It's this achievement that made the future generations unable to ignore it. With this achievement in front of us, it's easier said than done to touch the Wang family. Zhuoxiao Duo's expression turned serious. You mean Heavenly King Wang? Zhuoxiao Nian said slowly, the Wang family is a special aristocratic family that once had a heavenly king among their ancestors. Originally, the Wang family was just an unknown third-rate family. However, with the rise of heavenly king Gu Hong, Wang Feihong, the Wang family's status rose along with it. Heavenly king Gu Hong, Wang Feihong, was at the same time as the celestial emperor Zhai Xing and the heaven inspecting minister. The celestial emperor Zhai Xing's achievements were comparable to the Flood Witch and the Tao League's Taoist Lei. Wang Feihong was the first heavenly king of the Astral Souls continent, and also the first heavenly king of the Astral Souls continent. His position was only below the minister and the celestial emperor. Back then, the minister and the Umno alliance of the Tao League confronted each other in order to obtain a share of the token of gratitude for the Astral Souls continent. The Flood Witch said, even if the token of gratitude was given to the Astral Souls continent, does the Astral Souls continent have enough power to guarantee the authority of the token of gratitude? If they don't, even with the token of gratitude, it's just a piece of paper. What she meant was that the humans of the Astral Souls continent had to show their strength and prove their worth with their strength to intimidate the 2 continents. If you dare to touch my prodigy, we will retaliate with absolute power. Even someone as strong as the Flood Witch and the Tao League's number 1, Taoist Lei, won't be able to stop us. After all, the Flood Witch is only an arbitrator. However, arbitration can only be done when both sides have the strength. If a giant dragon and an ant have a conflict, what's the need for arbitration? The Tao League and the Umno alliance of many heavenly kings didn't agree to the Astral Souls continent being covered by the token of gratitude. Therefore, the 3 sides fought. The minister challenged the Flood Witch, and the celestial emperor challenged the Tao League's Taoist Lei. However, the others didn't have the strength to challenge the great shaman and the other swords. Therefore, after the minister argued for it, it was decided that the heavenly kings would fight. The 9 battles decided the future of the Astral Souls continent. However, the Astral Souls continent only sent 3 people to fight. The minister couldn't spare any attention to deal with the Flood Witch. The Celestial Emperor also couldn't spare any attention to deal with Taoist Lei. The remaining 7 battles could only be fought by Heavenly King Wang alone. In this battle, as the number 1 Heavenly King of the Astral Souls continent, Wang Feihong fought with the determination to die. Before the battle, he said to the minister and the Celestial Emperor, "There must be sacrifices in this battle. If we don't sacrifice blood to the heavens, how can there be peace? The 2 of you are the pillars of the heavens. You can't lose. If this battle requires someone with enough weight to die, then I, the first in line, will be the one to do it. If anything happens to me in this battle, the Wang family behind me will have to rely on my brothers to take care of it." Chapter 1108. Zhu Xiaoyan's expression was solemn. She couldn't help but respect the battle back then. In that battle, Wang Feihong challenged the Tao League and the Umno Alliance, who clearly expressed their opposition to the 7 heavenly kings of the Astral Souls. In that battle, Wang Feihong defeated the Umno Alliance's Heavenly King Iron Bone, the Umno Alliance's Heavenly King Zhenhua, and the Tao League's Heavenly King Fei Xia, winning all 3 battles. However, after 3 battles, he was exhausted and couldn't continue. At that time, the Umno Alliance's great shaman Lei Bao was furious. He strictly ordered the Umno Alliance's Heavenly King Shuizhan to fight. He even said that if the Astral Souls won this battle again, the victory would be sealed. From this person's token, the Astral Souls could be counted. At that time, the minister confronted the Flood Witch, and the emperor restrained the Tao League's Thunder Tao. They fought from afar. And in these 2 battles, even if the minister and the emperor fought with their lives on the line, they could only fight for a draw. In the 9 battles, Heavenly King Wang had already won 3 battles. He only needed to win the 4th battle, and the outcome would be decided. But the remaining people of the Astral Souls could not win the blood battle. Heavenly King Wang Feihong laughed and fought. He smiled calmly and said, "The Astral Souls have always had my name, so I fought the Heavenly King Shuizhan." How could Heavenly King Wang not know that he was exhausted? He was definitely not the opponent's opponent. But he had already made up his mind to use extreme moves. His first move was to perish together with the Heavenly King Shuizhan by self-detonation. Before he died, he only roared, "Lei Bao, can you keep your promise?" After that battle, the Sky Inspecting Minister and the Flood Witch fought to a draw. From then on, they achieved immortal fame. Emperor Zhai Xing also fought to a draw with the Tao League's number 1 person. From then on, he became the legend of the Astral Souls. The 2 great men became the pillars of the Astral Souls. It was from that time that the Astral Souls continent had a share of the token of gratitude. It was also after that battle. Until today, everyone in the Star Soul continent worshipped an additional name. Previously, they worshipped the god of wealth, the Celestial Emperor, the Kitchen Lord, and the god of salvation. But after that battle, there was an additional name, the god of war. War god, Heavenly King Gu Hong, Wang Feihong. The deity statues worshipped by the Star Soul human clan are all unarmed. Only the war god worshipped has a sword in his hand. Moreover, it is a treasured sword with the tip pointing outwards. It's the god of war for Astral Souls, forever. You want to deal with the Wang family and destroy them? Isn't that the same as destroying the myth of the god of war in the Astral Souls? Break the statue that has been worshipped for thousands of years. Zhu Xiaoyan took a deep breath and said, "We can't be careless about this matter. We have to deal with it carefully." Zhu Xiaoduo narrowed his eyes. "Of course I respect Heavenly King Wang and the god of war. But does that mean that the descendants of heroes can commit crimes at will without any scruples?" Zhu Xiaoyan was speechless. Because there was no way to answer this question. Given the Wang family's actions, their viciousness, and their intentions, no matter how they were punished, it wouldn't be too much. However, even if this matter were to be brought up, perhaps only the people of Phoenix City and the students from the second high school would be filled with righteous indignation. On the other hand, many people who had nothing to do with this matter would instead say, He saved the entire continent, but now he killed one of you. What's wrong with digging up one of your graves? Are you going to erase their achievements of saving the continent just because of one person and one grave? Yes, it's wrong for them to dig up your graves, but didn't your graves obstruct something? It had to be said. Sometimes, there were many things that couldn't be ignored. When one reached a certain height, a certain status, and involved a certain level of higher-ups, they would never be able to do it, because there were too many people who would jump out to stop you. And the people who stopped you were usually on the side of justice. At least, they were on the side of justice in the current world. This was the biggest helplessness of being a person. How would one know the pain of being cut by a knife when the knife didn't cut one's own body? No matter how much one boasted, it was just one person's words and one's own selfishness. The truth was clear, and the follow-up. It was difficult to follow up for the time being. Zhuoxiaoduo had to temporarily stop the interrogation. He only felt that the weight in his heart could not be removed. Looking at these 5 people, he felt angry and disgusted. With a heavy heart, he and Zhuoxiaoyan left the area of the dimension-destroying pagoda. But the 2 of them did not return to Shangjing City directly. Instead, they sat in a secluded place with an unprecedentedly solemn expression and did not speak for a long time. The problem now was not about who won or lost, but about whether they could move or not. I still want to move. After careful consideration, Zhuoxiaoduo said slowly, I'm not being impulsive. I've thought about it for a long time. Before coming to Shangjing, I had thought about what I would do if His Majesty killed my teacher. How to put it into action. I've really thought about it. Zhuoxiaoyan's beautiful eyes deepened. Then what did you do after you thought about it? Zhuoxiaoduo smiled easily. His Majesty didn't teach me. His Majesty is not my teacher. He's just a stranger to me. He smiled in a relaxed manner as he looked at the white clouds drifting across the sky. He softly said, regardless of whether it was before I came or now, there is only one thought in my heart. My teacher must not die in vain. So, no matter who killed my teacher, I will take revenge. I'm not a talented leader, nor a talented general. I don't even have the ability to lead a region. Zhuoxiaoduo said slowly, I can't protect the peace of a region, and I can't become the god of war of the continent. The so-called ancient legends are just legends to me. I have no intention of becoming the totem pillar of the human race. But I'm sure I can do one thing. Zhuoxiaoduo smiled happily. I'll be good to whoever is good to me. That's what I can do. I don't care if he's the descendant of the star-plucking emperor, the son of the heavenly king of the right, or the grandson of the sky inspecting minister, as long as he doesn't mess with me. If he messes with me, Zhuoxiaoduo said very calmly, there's only one reason in my heart. Right and wrong, there's only one reason. Teacher Qin Fangyang was very kind to me. He died because of me, so I must take revenge for him. Whoever killed him must pay the price. Old Principal He Yuanyue, even if she put aside the fact that she devoted her life to the astral souls of the continent, she's still my benefactor. She's my most respected teacher. Whoever wants to dig up her grave will be my sworn enemy. No matter what kind of background the Wang clan has, or how glorious they are, or if they're the epitome of justice, as long as they do this, I won't let them off. I'm such a simple person. I'm a selfish person who doesn't care about the big picture. Zhuoxiaoduo smiled brightly. So, there's no need to worry. Do everything according to your heart. Zhuoxiaoyan's beautiful eyes sparkled. Then. There's no then. We need to respect the god of war, but I still want to kill the Wang clan. I won't disrespect the god of war because of the Wang clan sins, but I won't let the Wang clan sins go because of my respect for the god of war. Zhuoxiaoduo said softly, I believe. If Senior Wang Feihong was still here, maybe he would be the first to draw his sword. Zhuoxiaoyan was silent, but the light in her eyes shone brightly. She suddenly felt that Puppy was so cute right now. He was so cute that she wanted to rush into his arms, hug him, and praise him. You're awesome. He's so handsome. At this moment, Zhuoxiaoduo was stunned for a moment. His phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from Hu Ruoyun. Where are you? Duo looked at the three words. His eyes immediately darkened. Something happened. Duo took a deep breath. He felt as if his heart was covered by dark clouds in the sky. Zhuoxiaonian's beautiful eyebrows immediately rose sharply. This message, combined with the previous interrogation, made it obvious to the two of them what had happened. It was a message from teacher Hu Ruoyun. Ever since Duo left Phoenix City, he really hadn't received a single call from teacher Hu Ruoyun, nor any news from her. Hu Ruoyun liked Duo to the core. It had always been like this. However, Hu Ruoyun also knew that Duo was a warrior. During a battle, an untimely call could cost Duo his life. Therefore, although she was always worried about Duo, she had never taken the initiative to send a message to Duo. She would rather worry about herself than cause any trouble or delay to Duo. But now, Hu Ruoyun had sent him such a message. Duo took a deep breath and dialed the number back. In Phoenix City, Hu Ruoyun was standing in front of Feng Huihui and He Yuanyue's tombs with a face full of anger. He Yuanyue's tomb had become a huge pit. Even the tombstone had been broken into several pieces. All the items that had been buried with her had turned into a mess. Many treasures had disappeared without a trace. This old principal, who had devoted his life to the country, the people, the students, and the mainland, could not even rest in peace after his death. On one side of the mountain rock, there were two sentences carved. The situation in Shangjing is turbulent. Why should the dead get involved? These two short sentences clearly explained the motive for this incident. It was because it involved some game between the upper echelons of Shangjing, or something else. Tu Ruoyun, Li Changjiang, Luo Lai, Sun Fengho, Jiang Zhangbin, and the others all stood there with pale faces. Their bodies were trembling with anger. They stared at the grave that had become a huge pit. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and anger. They had never thought that such a thing would happen. This kind of heartless thing really happened in broad daylight, and the culprit actually left a message in such a grandiose manner. Jiang Zhangbin was the first to break down. He howled to the sky, "Fuck your mother! Fuck your mother! Shangjing, you're so fucking amazing! Fuck your mother! Fuck your ancestors!" Countless obscenities rushed out from the mouths of the two bureau chiefs, Jiang Zhangbin and Sun Fengho, like a torrential river. They were crying and cursing at the same time. They felt as if their hearts were being cut into pieces in an instant. Chapter 1109. Sun Fengho and Jiang Zhangbin knelt on the ground, gritting their teeth in anger. Tears of grief and indignation streamed down their faces. Guilt, self-blame, and resentment at their own uselessness made them feel like they were about to explode. Ever since their former principal, He Yuanyue, passed away, the two of them habitually came to He Yuanyue's grave to vent their frustrations, whether they were happy, troubled, or difficult. Whether they were facing difficulties at work or family problems, the two of them habitually came to He Yuanyue's grave to vent their frustrations. It was as if their teacher was still alive, listening to their complaints with a warm smile on her face. It was as if their teacher would still be able to solve their problems after they complained to her. But now, even their teacher's grave had been dug up. When the two of them witnessed this scene with their own eyes, they felt as if the sky had collapsed. Also, their hearts were broken. The place that used to be the warmest in their hearts had turned to ice. A strong sense of self-blame suddenly welled up in their hearts. What use am I? I've been here every day to look at my teacher's grave, but now her grave has been destroyed. Am I supposed to come here every day to complain? I can't even protect my teacher's grave. What am I supposed to say about bringing prosperity to the people? What am I supposed to say about keeping the people safe? Isn't that a joke? My teacher spent her entire life for the country, for the people, and for the future of humanity. Now, someone actually destroyed her grave 100 years after her death. Sun Fengho's eyes were red as he roared at the sky, "Heavens! So what if you're a good person? So what if you're a bad person? Have you ever opened your eyes and looked? Have you ever punished a bad person? Have you ever praised a good person? So what if you're serving the country and the people? Won't your corpse be left in the wilderness after you die? Won't it be peaceful? So what if you're full of evil? Didn't you enjoy glory and wealth when you were alive? Enjoy all the luxuries? You're the heavens. But can't you uphold justice? Can't you uphold justice? Why is this happening? Everyone present, one by one, suffered a complete mental breakdown. Shangjing. Shangjing my ass. Jiang Zhangbin gritted his teeth and took out his phone with tears streaming down his face. He called the old man. I don't want to stay in Phoenix City anymore. I want to get promoted and get rich. Think of a way to transfer me to Shangjing. On the other side, Director Jiang was on the verge of breaking down. He howled, "What the fuck are you talking about? I don't care if you're talking nonsense or not. Anyway, I want to be transferred to Shangjing and have real power. I want to be an official, a high-ranking official. I can't go to Shangjing even if I want to. How can I get you there? Think of something. You must think of a way for me. Who do you think you're talking to? Believe it or not, I'll beat you to death. Whatever, I'm going to Shangjing anyway." So, the call was cut off. Jiang Zhangbin was still shouting, "I want to go to Shangjing. I want to go to Shangjing. I'm going to avenge my teacher." At this moment, ring ring ring. Hu Ruoyun's cell phone rang. Zhou Xiaoduo called back. "It's a call from Xiaoduo." Hu Ruoyun sighed. Zhou Xiaoduo felt that something was wrong with the message she sent, so he immediately called back. Hu Ruoyun coughed. She hugged her cell phone and walked more than 100 meters away before answering the call. She said softly, "Xiaoduo?" Zhou Xiaoduo's voice came from the other end. "Teacher Hu, you must have something to tell me since you sent me a message, right?" Hu Ruoyun was silent for a moment. Then she said, "No." Zhou Xiaoduo's deep voice came from the other end of the line. "Teacher Hu, is it that the old principal's grave has been destroyed?" Even Hu Ruoyun felt that his voice sounded a little gloomy. There was an inexplicable feeling of coldness. Hu Ruoyun was stunned. How did Zhou Xiaoduo know? Hu Ruoyun asked hurriedly, "Xiaoduo, you're in Phoenix City?" She turned around like a whirlwind. Her eyes were filled with uncertainty. Could it be that Zhou Xiaoduo was also here? But when she looked around, she did not see Zhou Xiaoduo. However, Hu Ruoyun's words revealed too many things in an instant. Zhou Xiaoduo understood everything in an instant. He was silent for a long time. Then, he said in a hoarse voice, "Teacher Hu, could you please take a picture of the old principal's grave and show it to me?" Zhou Xiaoduo only felt a chill in his heart. He was so depressed that he did not want to speak. After saying this, he silently hung up the phone. He was in a daze. He Yuanyue's face appeared in his mind again. It was as if she was standing in front of him, looking at him gently and kindly. He said slowly, "I hope that my home will not be destroyed. I hope that my country—" Zhou Xiaoduo closed his eyes abruptly. His cheeks bulged as he gritted his teeth. He took a deep breath and exhaled deeply. He did not say a word. When he heard the other party's plan, Zhou Xiaoduo shouted angrily and almost lost control of his emotions. However, after confirming this matter, Zhou Xiaoduo did not want to say a word. There was no need to say anything. What the old principal's spirit in heaven wanted to see was not his incompetent rage and useless roar. From this moment on, there was no turning back for this matter. He lowered his head and recited softly, "There are many regrets in this life. My great love fills the galaxy. The spring breeze spreads across the world. Thousands of years of history are carved by jade." This was the poem that he had given to He Yuanyue. It was also the poem that He Yuanyue had said in advance to be engraved on the tombstone. In the end, it was engraved on the tombstone. Now that the grave was destroyed, Zhou Xiaoduo recited it in a low voice. With each word that he recited, Zhou Xiaoduo's gloomy aura intensified. When he reached the last 3 words, they were as thin as gossamer, but the gloomy and terrifying aura became more and more intense. Zhou Xiaoduo only felt a flame burning in his heart. It burned him and made him feel extremely uncomfortable. On the other side, Hu Ruoyun's mind raced. She wanted to say something to comfort him, but Zhou Xiaoduo had already hung up the phone. Hu Ruoyun held the phone and was in a daze. She was speechless for a long time. Xiaoduo said that we should take a few photos of the situation here and show them to him. Hu Ruoyun turned to look at her husband. The grave. According to tradition, graves and tombstones were not allowed to be photographed. There was a great taboo in this. However, Zhou Xiaoduo made such a request at this moment. Li Changjiang said softly, "Show it to him." Hu Ruoyun looked at her husband. Don't forget that Zhou Xiaoduo is the successor of the old principle's aura observation technique. He is also proficient in the Tao of Feng Shui and the divination technique. Others may not understand the taboo in this, but Zhou Xiaoduo will definitely understand. Now that he has said that he wants to take photos, then you should take photos and show them to him. Because just now, during the entire phone call, you didn't say anything at all. However, Zhou Xiaoduo clearly already knows, and he knows very clearly. That's why he asked to see the photos. This means that Zhou Xiaoduo knows much more than we do. So, take photos for him. Hu Ruoyun took a series of photos from top to bottom, from every direction, from the background, from a bird's eye view of the forest. Everything was taken in great detail. After confirming that there were no mistakes, she sent them over. Then she attached a list of names and contact information. There were her own, Li Changjiang's, Jiang Zhangbin's, Sun Fengho's. A few seconds later, Zhou Xiaoduo's message arrived. Where is Professor Lan? Professor Lan left a while ago. I don't know why. Hu Ruoyun compiled the information, but her heart was filled with confusion. Why did Lan Jie leave? Wasn't she supposed to be guarding the old principal's grave? Why did she leave so suddenly, without so much as a word? Hu Ruoyun's heart was filled with confusion, but at the same time she was relieved. It was fortunate that Lan Jie had left early. If she had been here when the enemy came to destroy the grave, she would have died. His sudden departure this time had allowed him to avoid death. As for whether or not Lan Jie had colluded with the enemy, Hu Ruoyun didn't even think about it. Even if she had colluded with others to destroy the old principal's grave, Lan Jie would never have done it. Understood. Zhou Xiaoduo's message arrived. Don't worry, Professor Hu. It's none of your business. Don't act rashly. The murderer is from Shangjing and has a strong background. They've already returned to Shangjing. I'm dealing with them now. Hu Ruoyun's heart skipped a beat. She hurriedly sent 2 words. Be careful. She didn't reply. Her heart was full of complaints. This kid doesn't know what's important. He's dealing with the enemy. What's with the message? What's with the phone call? Young people make people worry. Zhou Xiaoduo put down the phone. His face was gloomy. After this news, Hu Ruoyun and the others wouldn't search for the murderer in Phoenix City. As long as they didn't act rashly, they would be much safer. The enemy's strength was too strong. Any random profound realm cultivator could sweep through Second High and wipe out the entire school. Not to mention, it was very likely that the one who went was a flying cultivator, and there would be more than one of them. If Hu Ruoyun and the others discovered something, it would inevitably lead to another tragic sacrifice. Now that he had lost all of this, Zhou Xiaoduo felt that he couldn't bear it anymore. What's the matter? Zhou Xiaonian's face was as gloomy as water. An unprecedented biting cold murderous intent radiated from her body. Has the old principal's grave been destroyed? Zhou Xiaoduo was silent for a moment. Then he said in a low voice, yes. Immediately he turned on his phone and showed the photos Hu Ruoyun sent to Zhou Xiaonian. Dozens of photos pieced together the situation at the other end. The scene was a complete mess. There was a big pit and a broken stone tablet. The stone tablet had fallen to one side and was already broken. The only part that was still intact had only one sentence left on it: spring breeze, peaches and plums throughout the world. And the only part that was still intact had this sentence engraved on it. In Zhou Xiaoduo's eyes, it was indescribably glaring. Spring breeze, peaches and plums throughout the world. Throughout the world? So what? Wasn't his grave dug up in the end? He couldn't rest in peace even after he died. What was the point of talking about the 10,000-year jade pendant of history? Not even 2 years had passed, and his bones were ground to dust. What an ironic scene. When he saw the words on the stone wall next to him, Zhou Xiaoduo's heart was deeply pierced. It made his pupils contract abruptly like needles. The situation in Shangjing is turbulent. Why should the dead get involved? Hee. Zhuoxiaoduo's eyes were red. An inexplicable sound came from his throat. At this moment, his anger had obviously reached its peak. Is the Wang family so awesome? Then let's have some fun. I'll play with you to the end. Chapter 11:10. Then let's play slowly. I wanted to kill him, but now, I'm not satisfied. Zhuoxiaoduo sneered. Since that's the case, let's play from all sides. I hope you can afford to play. His fingers were flying as he began to type on his phone. After 2 hours, a report with tens of thousands of words was finished by Zhuoxiaoduo in a single stroke. Then he packaged it and sent it to Zhuoxiao's company. As the big boss, he gave a strict order. Stop everything you're doing. Work at full capacity. Create as much hype as you can on the internet. I want the whole world to know about this. In the report, Zhuoxiaoduo pointed out the suspects without hesitation. Shangjing, the Wang family. After 80 years of hard work, the trees have grown into shade. After 40 years of planning, the astral souls have flourished. He was such a respectable old man. His entire life, he was cautious and conscientious. Everything he earned, his life's work, he gave it all to his students and his astral soul. But after his death, his grave was even destroyed after his outstanding achievements. Can the Wang family of Shangjing be so arrogant after the God of War? The title of the God of War has protected your family for more than 10,000 years. The achievements of the God of War can protect your descendants for thousands of years. But can they offset all the bad things and be so crazy? It's said that the heavens have eyes. Then, where are the eyes of the heavens in the Yanwu Empire today? Is this the kind of treatment an old man who has had so many disciples should receive? Should he receive such an ending? How can a heroic soul rest in peace in the netherworld? Will she regret everything she did when she was alive? Will she feel that it was not worth it? Zhuoxiaoduo was filled with anger. His thoughts were flowing like a fountain. He wrote as if he had the help of the gods. Zhuoxiaonian watched him write and send it out. She couldn't understand. Want to fight the battle of public opinion first? Zhuoxiaoduo stopped and said faintly, the Wang family is definitely not a small opponent. With our strength, we can't crush them. If we want to settle our grudges, we might not be able to kill them all. Since you want to take revenge, you must be clear-headed and not impulsive. Once we're impulsive, even we'll be buried in there. Then, there'll be no one to take revenge. Zhuoxiaoduo added, and because of the glory of the Wang clan's war god, the upper echelons of the continent might not necessarily stand on our side. Zhuoxiaonian was puzzled. Why do you say that? Zhuoxiaoduo sneered and said, the Wang family has gone against the law and lost all conscience. They must have done some bad deeds in the past few years. How could they not know about the inspection history of the continent? However, the Wang clan was still standing strong. But it's because of Heavenly King Wang's last sentence. Zhuoxiaoduo took a deep breath and said, if you put yourself in their shoes, you can't blame these upper echelons. If I were them, if Li Chenglong and Long Yusheng died for me, for the people of the continent, sacrificing themselves heroically. Then, if their descendants do something thousands of years later, I'm afraid I can't be fair. There's a high possibility that I'll stand by and watch, or secretly make a move, but I definitely won't do something like exterminating my brother's family. Even if in the end, when their descendants reach the end of the road, they will never find me. Because if I help them, I'll be letting down the people they killed. If I don't help, I'll be letting down the brothers of the past. So, I can only disappear and escape. I won't destroy any balance. That's inevitable. This is the real foundation of the Wang clan. But understanding is one thing. What we do now is another. Since we can't take them down with our strength for the time being, we naturally have to attack them from all sides. On one hand, we'll create public opinion to disgust the Wang clan. On the other hand, we'll call for a common enemy. As long as we use this power well, we can arouse the sympathy of all the students who graduated from the Astral Souls Academy. If all the students and teachers of the continent really resist, at that time, even if the Wang clan doesn't die, it'll still die. Duo said indifferently, others can use public opinion to force Principal Shi to his death. Can't I use the same method to kill the Wang clan? Maybe the Wang clan's push-hand team is really the main culprit behind Principal Shi's death. Xiaoyan nodded and said with some admiration, I didn't think that far. I thought you were too angry and just came up with this method to disgust them. Duo sweated. What's the use of disgust? Things have to be done step by step. Because I'm worried that with so many flying teams in the Wang clan, there must be Dao integration stage or even peak Dao integration stage cultivators among the upper echelons. It's not impossible for there to be Dao integration stage cultivators among them. And we're far from being a match for such a force. That's why I'm trying so hard to think of ways to deal with them. Duo sighed. If I had the confidence to kill them with 2 strikes, I wouldn't have the patience to do so. Even the palace would have been destroyed long ago. So you're not stupid. Xiaoyan smiled. She teased. Then, she frowned slightly and carefully calculated the power of the Wang clan in her mind. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that it was too powerful. The Wang clan was definitely not unshakable, nor was it invincible. However, the Wang clan's greatest protective talisman now was the descendant of the god of war. It wasn't that many powerful cultivators didn't want to deal with them, but that they couldn't. This was the true protective talisman. Xiaoyan was only thinking about one thing now. Did the Wang clan not know that they were in danger of losing their reputation for doing such a thing? That was for sure. As long as it was exposed, they would be condemned by the public. For such a thing, they would dig up graves and leave clues. Even if Duo hadn't confirmed the target now, as long as the people seeking revenge arrived in the capital, there was a high probability that they would find the Wang clan. And this kind of senior who had disciples all over the world would definitely have terrifying power. In other words, it was inevitable that the Wang clan would be exposed. The probability was at least 80%. It was impossible for a big clan like the Wang clan to not think of this. However, since the Wang clan could think of it, they still did it. They forced Duo to come to Shangjing at all costs. This proved that Duo was important in the Wang clan's plan. And this importance made it even more clear how dangerous Duo was. Xiaoyan couldn't help but lean closer to Duo. Feeling the warmth of Duo's body, Xiaoyan's heart was at peace and she made up her mind. I won't leave you half a step. Duo looked at the night sky, looked at the sky, and laughed mockingly. He said lightly, actually, this world is so incomprehensible. For example, the evil people can kill the babies of good people with a bayonet, but if a good person kills the babies of evil people for revenge, they will immediately be called cruel. Countless people will jump out to condemn them. Evil people can slaughter the entire family, not leaving even a chicken or a dog alive. However, revenge can only be achieved by killing the main culprit. Countless people will stand up and say that the child is innocent after all. How ridiculous! This world is just so incomprehensible. The reason is that these apologists who have nothing to do with themselves are showing sympathy. They affect other people's happiness to gain their own moral pleasure. This kind of person can only bully good people. Because they don't dare to say anything to the evil people. If they dare to say to the evil people that the children are innocent, the evil people will kill them together. So they don't dare to keep the blood of good people, but only the blood of evil people, because good people won't kill them. How ridiculous, how ironic. Once you understand this world, you will understand. If a person wants to live a carefree life, just being a good person is not enough. But it doesn't matter. Fortunately, I, Duo, have never been a good person. Shuai's company received the text and pictures from the big boss. After reading it slightly, everyone was already covered in cold sweat, and they were at a loss. This was the first time the big boss directly gave an order to interfere with the company's operations. And this first order was already so exciting and explosive. Wasn't this report a little too sensitive? It was so sensitive that everyone's scalp was tingling. What should we do? General Manager Gucci urgently called all the company's executives and department heads for a meeting. Shuai's company was no longer the small company it used to be. It was already a giant in the entertainment industry. Every film and TV series produced by Zhuo's company became popular as soon as they were filmed, and they became popular all over the world. The market value of Zhuo's company had already exceeded 100 billion yuan. If such a behemoth were to use all of its channels to publish Zhuo's article, the social impact would be unimaginable. Especially the report's direction was simple and straightforward, directly pointing at the Wang family in Shangjing, without any concealment. Everyone, let's talk. What should we do about this? Gu Qi sat on the chair, and his face was full of fatigue. Once this report is released, Zhuo's company will be in the teeth of the storm, and there will be no turning back. What's more, even if we all disappear without a trace, we can still foresee it. The implications of this are simply too great. The other party is the God of War's family, and they have a long history of meritorious deeds. They benefit the world, benefit the common people, and benefit the future generations. Their achievements will last for thousands of generations. Gu Qi only felt waves of fatigue in his heart. Ever since Zhuo's company received the capital injection, it suddenly received all kinds of high-end talents. With the momentum of 100 rivers converging into the sea, the entire company rose from the dead, turned its losses into profits, and became famous all over the world. From the beginning to the end, it took less than a year to reach the top of Fenghai, one of the largest enterprises in the entire Star Spirit continent. During this period, Gu Qi always felt like he was dreaming, and he was afraid that when he woke up, he would find out that it was a dream. At the end of the dream, he still couldn't guarantee his return, and he would go bankrupt in the blink of an eye. As time went on, the company's scale became bigger and bigger, and its foundation became stronger and stronger. Gu Qi had a better grasp of reality, and he had become a real winner, and he was far more successful than he had imagined in the past. It was the kind of meteoric rise that he dared not even dream of. It was at this moment that he unexpectedly received this order that was no different from a bolt from the blue. Chapter 11:11. The opponent was the Wang family, the God of War family that was at the peak of power in the astral souls. Gu Qi was very melancholic. Deep down, he was still just a general manager of a small company that if this matter was really exposed, the consequences would be unimaginable. There was no, almost, no maybe. The article and photos sent by the big boss were given to everyone. Gu Qi wanted to see everyone's reaction. After all, this company belonged to the big boss and everyone present was just a worker. However, if all the higher-ups were to collectively object, this report would not be published. For example, if everyone expressed their intention to resign, at least in Gu Qi's opinion, at least half of the company's employees would choose to resign immediately after seeing this report and stay away from this inevitable circle of trouble. The other half would resign after persuading them to do their best. This was the situation that Gu Qi thought should happen. That was because people would really die from it. Because he had already decided to resign from his position as the general manager of Zhuo's company. It was not that Gu Qi was afraid of trouble and had no sense of responsibility, but he was just an ordinary person. He was not afraid of trouble, but he was afraid of death. The so-called, our collective disappearance, was exactly what he wanted. However, it was beyond Gu Qi's expectations. The reactions of everyone in the company were almost exactly the same. There were very few people who made a second sound. What's there to discuss? If the boss wants to publish it, then publish it. That's right. It's just a report. It's reasonable and well-founded. Just publish it. What's the big deal? It's just a report. We'll just do whatever the boss says. So what if it's the God of War family? Can't we report it when it involves them? Is there such a logic in this world? It's the boss company. If the boss wants to publish it, what's there to discuss? It's unnecessary. Opinion? No opinion. Gu Qi was stunned. How could this be? This shouldn't be. Everyone, once this report is published, do you really know what our company will face? What's there to not know? The content of the report sent by the boss is real and not fabricated. Of course, we have to publish it. What do we have to face? We'll face whatever we have to face. A battle of public opinion? Or the Wang family's revenge? Or something else? The boss will take care of everything. What are we afraid of? Publish it. I agree. I agree too. +1, +2, +10086. Out of the 35 people in the meeting room, only 3 of them did not express their approval. This included the general manager, Gucci. The other 32 people actually had an indifferent look on their faces. Gucci felt that he was about to faint. He really wanted to faint. He felt like he wasn't leading an employee, but a group of desperados. Were they all so unafraid of death? You guys don't understand the situation at all. This is a matter of life and death. Gucci hissed. Boss Gu, you're thinking too much. Don't we still have our boss? Even if we can't handle it, we can just change jobs. But if we don't do it, we'll lose our jobs now. It's so obvious. Can't you see it? Gucci was stunned. He began to doubt his life more and more. Am I thinking too much? Am I the one who doesn't understand? Or what am I doing? Am I having a nightmare? On his right, the company's CEO pushed his glasses and said calmly, Boss, you're thinking too much. Since our boss dares to do this, it's obvious that he's going against the Wang family. If our boss doesn't have a strong background, would he dare to do this? Maybe you're worried that the Wang family will take revenge on you after you do it? With our small arms and legs? Do you think you can escape unscathed if you don't do it? You're worried that the Wang family will kill you, but can't our boss do the same to you? The CEO smiled faintly. If you can't even see through this, then you might as well let me be the general manager of this company. Haha. After joking, the CEO picked up the document and stood up. I'll make the arrangements now. Spread it out in all directions. This time, our company will probably have to fight a big battle again. Let's do it. The 30 or so people were stirred up and stood up at the same time. They even roared excitedly, their voices shaking the sky. Gucci was stunned. He realized that the CEO's words made a lot of sense. Yes, they were worried that the Wang family would kill them, but were they not worried that the big boss would kill them? Did the big boss not have this ability? He couldn't help but clench his teeth and make up his mind. Publish. Act immediately. Okay. With the release of this article by Zhuo's company, the internet immediately began to spread rapidly like a wildfire. On the other side, Zhuo Duo and Zhuo Xiaoyan returned to the Tower of Annihilation again. Inside, the 5 people looked at Zhuo Duo and Zhuo Xiaoyan with ashen faces. There wasn't even the slightest desire to live in their eyes. Their cultivation was sealed, their movements were restricted, and even their teeth were knocked out. Their lower jaws were dislocated, and they couldn't even bite their tongues to commit suicide. He had already explained everything that he could. He had even explained everything that he had experienced in his life clearly. The only thing they wanted was to die quickly. Zhuo Duo came in with a sullen face and said, What are the names of the other group that went to Phoenix City? That's Group 3. The leader of Group 3 is called Green Sky Swordsman Gao Fengliang. He brought 4 brothers, Lu Jiashan, Hua Yunting, Wang Shiqi, Wang Shifang. Zhuo Duo sneered. Green Sky Swordsman? Gao Fengliang? Damn it, this name is so ironic. Does he deserve it? The 5 people stopped talking. Zhuo Duo asked them about their appearance, cultivation, martial arts, physique, weapons, tactics, and so on in detail that the more he understood, the more resentment he felt in his heart. The 5 people opposite them looked more and more relaxed and more sad. Their value had been squeezed out of them by Zhuo Duo. There was almost nothing left to squeeze. Then, they should be freed. The 5 of them swore that if there was a next life, they would never go against the little devil in front of them. They would never have anything to do with him. The degree of coldness of this guy's heart was far from being comparable to the rest of them. Time and time again, he cleaned up people from the inside out until there was not a single complete person left. Then, he repeated the cycle again and again, but from beginning to end, he was smiling wholeheartedly. Even his eyes did not show any fluctuations. That kind of indifference, was even more indifferent than when he cleaned up a piece of pork. The smile that always hung on his lips made people's scalps tingle. Zhuoxiao Duo thought for a while, and then took out the iron nail made of star iron from his arms and put it in front of the 5 people. This is a hidden weapon. You should be familiar with it, right? The 5 people looked at the iron nail carefully. It was hollow, barbed, and had tiny barbs all over. It was sharp, and cone-shaped. The 5 of them had a confused look on their faces. Zhuoxiao Duo stared at the 5 people's faces and said slowly, "Tell me the origin of this iron nail, and I'll send you on your way." The implication was that if they didn't explain it clearly, they would continue to play. The 5 of them shuddered as they racked their brains and began to rummage through their memories. This iron nail vaguely seemed to have some impression. There was confusion and uncertainty in the eyes of the leader. He said, "This iron nail, is it silent? Can't it be avoided by following the sound of a golden blade cutting through the wind?" Zhuoxiao Duo was stunned. This iron nail was hollow. How could it be silent? It didn't make sense. He picked up the iron nail and threw it out. As the iron nail was thrown, there was a shrill sound. It made people who heard it feel as if they were about to be shaken. Zhuoxiao Duo turned his hand and grabbed the iron nail. He played with the iron nail and studied it carefully for a while. Then he threw it out in a different way. He was surprised to find that it was really silent. The hollow part of the structure exerted a kind of rotational force, which perfectly eliminated the sound of the wind caused by breaking through the air. It was completely silent. It can be loud, which can shake people's hearts and souls. It can also be silent, which can catch the enemy off guard and make it impossible to guard against. Zhuoxiao Duo looked at this special hollow design again and again, and he had an inexplicable feeling of enlightenment. It turned out that there was so much knowledge and research about the structure of hidden weapons. I might be able to, but Zhuoxiao Duo immediately dispelled this thought. His Starry Sky Eternal Stones hexagram had a unique quality. Not to mention making it hollow and designing it exquisitely, it would be difficult to even change it slightly. It was better not to think about it. I seem to have seen this hidden weapon once before, but it didn't come from anyone in our Wang clan. Instead, it was used by one of the mysterious people. At that time, it should be one of the consecrated members of the imperial family who suddenly sensed something, but we don't know the exact reason. Later, this consecrator was killed. And when we went there, the consecrator was already dead. At that time, this consecrator had such an iron nail on his body. But at that time, we didn't check it carefully, so we were sent out to guard. When we dealt with the body later, the iron nail was gone. Zhuoxiao Duo frowned. Mysterious people? Yes, mysterious people. They are. The group of people we mentioned before who had a secret meeting with a woman. That group of people's whereabouts are the most mysterious. They come and go without a trace. We don't know their identity, background, or who they are. And every time they met with the head of the family and several elders. They didn't see any outsiders at all. Every time they met, the time was very short. And every time they met, the security was very tight. Zhuoxiao's eyes suddenly revealed a gloomy and sharp look. He lowered his voice and asked, "Are they people from the astral soul's continent?" The 5 people shook their heads gently. "We can't be sure, but we can't be sure either." Understood. Zhuoxiao Duo raised his head, thought for a moment, and said, "Do you want to have an afterlife?" The 5 people's eyes flashed with sadness. Was he going to send them on their way? The leader said in a hoarse voice, "We are not chess players, not even pawns. We are just the periphery. Even if there is an afterlife in the end, we are just another person's tools. This world is too tiring and too difficult. We have lived for so long, but when we think about it carefully, we don't know who we are living for. The world is too complicated. This old man doesn't want to come back." The other 4 people were silent. They nodded one after another, tears welling up in their eyes. At the moment of real death, the experiences of their lives flashed before their eyes like flickering lights and passing shadows. They sighed deeply. It was just as their boss said. The world was too complicated. This time, they didn't want to come back. It was too difficult, too tiring, too bitter, too helpless. Zhuoxiao Duo smiled faintly. "Okay, see you never." A pair of sledgehammers appeared in his hands. "Let's go." Black and white suddenly flashed. Let's collect some insignificant interest first. Chapter 11-12. 5 corpses were thrown out of the spatial extermination tower at the foot of the mountain. In the spiritual space, Bai and Jiao were shaking their heads and wagging their tails, wiping their mouths in satisfaction. After devouring the 3 souls and 7 spirits of 5 Skysoar realm experts, the 2 of them were in high spirits, greatly increasing their foundation. It's a pity for these 5 people. Zhuoxiaonian sighed softly. What's there to pity? Zhuoxiao Duo smiled faintly. These people. Their deaths are not worth pitying. Don't judge them by how they seem to have an epiphany in the end. Their actions have already determined that there's no turning back. Because they're adopted children, there's no turning back from the beginning, and they can't escape. There are only 2 paths for them to return to. The first is to die in battle for this clan, and the second is to die of old age in this clan. They can't be considered human anymore, they can only be considered tools. Zhuoxiao Duo took a deep breath and said, the good thing now is that the situation is relatively clear. We can already confirm who our enemies are. The Wang clan, the 2nd prince and the 3rd prince of the Huangfu clan. But with just our strength we can't deal with the Wang clan. Zhuoxiao Duo was still very clear-headed on this point. It's almost midnight outside now. Zhuoxiao Duo said, the Wang clan can't run away. Let's cultivate first. Sharpening one's spear before the battle, even if it's not fast, it's still bright. Moreover, we have such a huge time advantage, it won't be too late to cultivate for half a year before going out. Zhuoxiaonian nodded in agreement. Just as Zhuoxiao Duo said, if the 2 of them showed up in Shangjing City now, they would undoubtedly be too obvious a target. How could they not be vigilant when the 5 Skysoars belonging to the other party disappeared? How could they not send stronger people? How could a clan with 10,000 years of history not have stronger experts? But what if Zhuoxiao Duo and Zhuoxiaonian disappeared at this time? In the void-destroying tower, Zhuoxiao Duo and Zhuoxiaonian were focused on their cultivation. It was the first time in history that they were fully focused on their cultivation. They ate all kinds of natural treasures as well as top-grade Astral Soul's jade. As for the precious laurel honey, the 2 of them would share a drop every few days. He didn't use any of those low-end materials. He couldn't be bothered to look at them. Right now, he didn't need to think about how to distribute them properly or how to advance in an orderly manner. He only needed to raise his cultivation to the greatest extent possible. If it weren't for the fact that only 1 drop of Jiuxiao spirit water could be consumed per realm, Zhuoxiao Duo would have already taken it out to drink. Zhuoxiaonian felt a little heartache as she ate. What kind of family would eat like that? This was too extravagant. Did his family own a mine? On the contrary, Zhuoxiao Duo, who had always been stingy, showed a rare generosity this time. Eat them all. If we can't take revenge this time, we probably won't be able to use these things. Don't tell me you're keeping it for someone else? If we can't take revenge, these things might become the Wang family's. By the way, if you really can't take it anymore, remember to tell me. We must destroy all the storage equipment in our hands. We can't let our enemies take advantage of them. Do you remember? Zhuoxiao Duo calculated the time. Together with Zhuoxiaonian, they had been cultivating to the limit in the void-destroying tower for a total of 9 months. During these 9 months, the 2 of them would either spar for a few days in a row, or they would practice separately for a few days in a row, making progress on their own. Or they would meditate together, sharing what they lacked. Or they would combine their true qi, and the 2 of them would converge their true qi into one, and the 2 of them would combine their true qi to increase each other's yin and yang attributes. Zhuoxiao Duo was really crazy this time. Zhuoxiaonian saw everything clearly. This unforeseen event really stimulated Zhuoxiao Duo. It was engraved in her heart and she would never forget it. Because, for such a long time, Zhuoxiao Duo didn't make her happy or take advantage of her with a cheeky smile. In the first 10 days, Zhuoxiaonian felt quite at ease. Doggy has grown up and become more mature. In the past month, Zhuoxiaonian gradually felt lonely. She always felt that something was missing in her life. When 3 months had passed, Zhou Xiaoyan finally started to worry. She even felt a little resentful. Why isn't Doggy taking advantage of me? She was extremely uncomfortable in this state. Could it be that, like in the novels, distance makes the heart grow fonder? She was with Doggy all the time, but he was no longer attracted to her. It had only been a few days, and he was already like this? Not to mention the 7-year itch that she didn't expect that she, who was still in the prime of her youth, couldn't keep her man's heart? Slowly, her resentment turned into anger, and the atmosphere turned into anger that Doggy actually didn't take advantage of me. As a result, on this day of sparring, Zhou Xiaoyan unleashed the full power of his origin Xian peak cultivation that he had suppressed for almost 50 times, beating Zhou Xiao Duo ruthlessly for the first time. No matter how hard Zhou Xiao Duo fought, in the face of Zhou Xiaoyan's wrath, not only did he beat this brat until he was rolling on the ground, he even froze him into an ice sculpture as he begged for mercy. After a long while, Zhou Xiao Duo broke out of the ice sculpture, trembling. His whole body was wet, and his eyes were full of confusion as he looked at Zhou Xiaoyan, who was practicing her swordsmanship with a cold face and didn't say a word for a long time. What's wrong? Zhou Xiao Duo felt wronged. I didn't do anything recently. Why did she suddenly become so violent? Why is this? Zhou Xiaoyan continued to practice with a cold face. This Doggy is also a straight man? He doesn't usually act like it. After such a long time of practice, Zhou Xiao Duo had pushed his cultivation to the peak of the mysterious realm and suppressed it for 13 times. But combined with his previous experience of compression, the Jiuxiao spirit water, and the laurel honey, there was still a lot of space in his dantian to compress. But Zhou Xiao Duo was still very clear. Although Zhou Xiaoyan was also in the Gui Xian realm, her foundation was not below his at all. If Sister Xiaoyan, who had entered the path of cultivation before him, went all out, he really couldn't beat her. There was nothing he could do. Especially when Zhou Xiaoyan had already fully grasped the inheritance of the Moon Lord. When she used the lunar cold light sword, even if Zhou Xiao Duo used all his strength and took out his 99 cat hammer, and even with the help of Bai and Jiu, he was still mercilessly suppressed. Yes, from the beginning he was suppressed to the point where he had to abandon his armor, and then he was defeated. Finally, he was pressed down, beaten up, and frozen into a block of ice. Zhou Xiao Duo was very depressed. He always felt that he had enough adventures, but when he thought about it, it seemed that Nian Nian's adventures were not much worse than his. The two of them seemed to have fallen into a strange cycle. Zhou Xiao Duo had many fortuitous encounters, and his cultivation progress was far beyond the knowledge of ordinary people. The biggest hope in his heart was to catch up with and surpass Zhou Xiaoyan and truly win her heart. However, Zhou Xiaoyan was also working hard on his cultivation. He also had many fortuitous encounters, and his cultivation speed was also increasing by leaps and bounds. Her goal was to prevent Zhou Xiaoyan from catching up to her, and to maintain her authority and status. Even if we get married in the future, I will still have the final say in this family. If the dog doesn't accept it, I will beat him until he accepts it. This was the deep-rooted obsession in Zhou Xiaoyan's self-awareness. I have suppressed it 13 times now. If I want to beat Nian Nian, looking at my current progress, I estimate that I will have to suppress it at least 40 times to reach Nian Nian's current level. As for Nian Nian now, she should be on the verge of breaking through the bottleneck, or she has received guidance from an expert to increase the number of times she suppresses her cultivation. Now, with Nian Nian's cultivation, she will have to suppress it at least 47 or 48 times. This means that the advantage I have over Nian Nian is that I am at the peak of the profound returning realm. After all, 40 times for me is equivalent to 47 or 50 times for her. But this is the suppression of a high level of the profound returning realm. It can't be reversed. The most annoying thing is that I have received the inheritance of Zhu Wu, Fire God Zhu Rong. This is an inheritance that no one in the Umno Alliance has received. But Sister Nian also received the inheritance of the Moon Lord, which is the coldest attribute. Not only does it oppose me, but because of the difference in cultivation level, she has completely suppressed me. I can't really go all out against her. So the more Zhou Xiao Duo thought about it, the more depressed he felt. Based on the current situation, even if he reached the fairy realm, he might not be able to defeat Zhuxiaoyan. For example, if the suppression at the origin core realm was like a sesame seed, then the suppression at the peak of the profound returning realm was like a watermelon. The higher one's cultivation level was, the more profound it was. When Zhuxiaoyan had reached the transformation cloud realm, Zhuxiao Duo had yet to reach the inner core realm, which was several levels higher than him. Now that both of them were at the Gui Xian realm, it seemed like Zhuxiao Duo had caught up, but in reality, the gap between the two of them was still very big. A small river was a realm, and so was an ocean. But it would be unfair to use the realm of the ocean to evaluate them. The Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean were both known as oceans. It could be said that the Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean were of the same level. But who didn't know the difference between the two? To the outside world, 9 months in the Tower of Annihilation was only 2 days and 3 nights. Zhuxiao Duo and Zhuxiaoyan had come out of seclusion. Zhuxiao Duo had thought it over and over again to choose this time. If they had gone missing for 2 more days, the Wang family would have attacked the people of Phoenix City to force them to show themselves. Zhuxiao Duo did not dare to overestimate the Wang family's bottom line. If they had gone missing for 2 more days, it would have been meaningless. During these 2.5 days of concealment, Zhuxiao Duo wanted to draw all the attention of the Wang family to himself and his younger brother. First, he wanted to determine the winner and loser between the two of them, the survival of the fittest. But what Zhuxiao Duo didn't know, or perhaps what he didn't expect, was that during the 2 days he was hiding and cultivating, the internet had already exploded, and it was an uncontrollable explosion. The entire continent of astral souls was in an uproar because of it. A well-respected old principal had his grave dug up by some people with ulterior motives. Such an explosive topic instantly became the talk of the nation. Zhuxiao's company went all out. The whole company was in an unprecedented state of battle. All kinds of materials and dry goods were constantly thrown in. He Yuanyue's life story was sorted out and posted on the internet one by one. Her life's contributions to Phoenix City No. 2 High School, as well as the memories of the students of Phoenix City No. 2 High School from all over the world. After all the students of Phoenix City No. 2 High School received the news, they were so angry that their hearts were about to explode. Many officers who served in the army even asked for leave to come back for revenge. Of course, such leave would not be granted, but it did not stop many people from sneaking out. It was inevitable that they would be caught by the military law team and punished. Sneaking out from the battlefield had always been a crime punishable by death. There was no reason or motive. However, after a few high-ranking generals heard the reason, they issued an order to stop the death penalty and turned it into confinement. Everyone was confined for a few hours. At the same time, a topic on the internet quickly became a hot topic. If your most respected teacher's grave was dug up, what would you do? What would you do if someone dug up the grave of your teacher, whom you regard as your second parent, who is as heavy as a mountain? This article instantly attracted the attention of the people who were watching from the sidelines. Everyone had the same thought, and their hearts shared the same reasoning. How could they not say anything? When they put themselves in their shoes, they suddenly felt that they could not stand it. For a time, the internet was filled with heated discussions. On the other hand, Shang Jing reacted quickly. Countless posts sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain and the Yangtze River out of the dam. They began to wash the ground and deny in every possible way. Where's the evidence? You want to slander the war god family with just a few empty words? Making the war god family bleed and cry, where's the justice? Is there such an easy thing? You can just casually dig up a grave and frame the war god family? The war god has protected the mainland for thousands of years. Now, there's actually a scoundrel who is so clumsy to frame the war god family. It's so ridiculous. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? The internet trolls nowadays are getting bolder and bolder. They're getting more and more outrageous. They dare to say anything. Just to ride on the hype, they can even ignore the achievements of the mainland's heroes and turn a deaf ear to it. At the same time, the Wang family took further action. They attacked from all aspects, used all kinds of forces, and used all kinds of methods to suppress Zhuxiao company. There were even various actions from the real world. For example, the actions of the functional departments and related departments. Then, the most bizarre and inconceivable situation appeared. In the face of the Wang family's all-out counterattack, the previously unknown Shui company, which had been established for less than 2 years, was as stable as an old dog. It was like a mainstay, standing firm and unmoving. It continued to create public opinion for a long time. Countless topics appeared like the pouring of the Milky Way, and once started, it could not be stopped. All the functional departments should have been able to deal with this company that seemed to have no foundation. However, in reality, it was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree. They could not stop it. In the eyes of the Wang family, this result was inconceivable. They were truly shocked. There was actually such a thing in the world? Was this a joke? Everyone was stunned. Facing such a private company, shouldn't it collapse with a single blow? No matter how rich they were, but for this, someone from the Wang family went to the top department leaders. They went to complain. Why can't anyone deal with this matter? My family has been slandered like this. Now, the internet is in an uproar. The culprit is the Shui company. Why doesn't anyone touch them? Who is their protective umbrella? Who allowed them to stand outside the law? A company that inverts black and white and slanders a hero family actually has such a strong protective umbrella? Where is the dignity of the law? The reply was like this. The higher-ups have repeatedly emphasized that justice is in the hearts of the people. How can black and white not be clear? We believe in the Wang family's innocence. We also believe that the Wang family can prove their innocence. If the rumors are slandered, there will be a day when the truth is out. It's not that the Shui company has a protective umbrella, but this matter needs to be resolved in a fair and just way. After all, this society is still particular about fairness. Hearing such a reply, the Wang family was so angry that they almost fainted. Fairness? You want me, a meritorious family, the god of war, to talk about fairness with a small company? That can't be, Minister. This is too. There's no other way. Brother Wang, don't make things difficult for me. But this fairness is really unfair to my family. My family's ancestor and the emperor are both. Cough. Speaking of the minister is also paying attention to this matter. What did the minister say? The minister personally said that he believes that the Wang family is innocent. He believes that the Wang family can prove their innocence. If the rumors are slandered, there will be a day when the truth is out. Prove their innocence, that the minister said so. Justice is in the hearts of the people. How can black and white not be clear? This sentence was said by the emperor. The left and right heavenly kings said that the Shui company has always been a politically correct company. The Wang family member was struck by lightning. His eyes almost popped out. A politically correct company? The left and right heavenly kings have directly decided? How unfair is this to our Wang family? The left and right heavenly kings have never decided on this public opinion battle. They also believe that the Wang family can prove their innocence. The higher-ups patiently explained. They only decided on the Shui company's political line. Was there a difference? If this wasn't blatant favoritism, then what was? The Wang family became more and more confused. The Southern Marshal also said that he hopes that this matter will start and end on the internet. The other party said vaguely. What he meant was that the big shots were all paying attention. The Wang family shouldn't go overboard. We are all working hard to maintain fairness. But this Wang family member was already confused. What did he mean by the Wang family shouldn't go overboard? You are the ones who are going overboard, okay? Isn't this bullying? What did he mean by you are all working hard to maintain fairness? You are all working hard to suppress my family, this is true. What does the Southern Marshal mean? The meaning is so clear. The Wang family is not allowed to use force in this matter. We can only use conventional means and public opinion tactics to solve this matter. If we use additional forces, there may be additional forces to stop us. This all depends on the Wang family's decision. There are also Dongfang, Shimin, Beigong, and the other marshals. They all said that they believe that the Wang family is innocent and that the Wang family can prove their innocence. If someone continues to use unconventional methods in this battle of public opinion, they will intervene. Intervene? This is not something that we can know. This is not fair at all. Justice is in people's hearts. How is it unfair? This is discrimination against the Wang family. You are thinking too much. How can there be discrimination between black and white? We are a meritorious family. How can we be compared to a small company? Yes, the Wang family is a meritorious family. Why should we make things difficult for a small company? It is enough to prove our innocence. Besides, if a prince breaks the law, he will be punished like a commoner. Does the Wang family want special privileges? Our Wang family wants special privileges. This sentence naturally couldn't be said clearly. But he was so angry that his lungs were about to swell. This matter developed so strangely that it was really unimaginable. I am not convinced. I want to see His Majesty. His Majesty said that if the Wang family has any dissatisfaction, you can speak to the emperor. After all, you are family friends. As an outsider, His Majesty shouldn't intervene in this matter. Family friends? Yes, don't the war god family and the emperor's family friends? What he meant was that they had such a strong relationship, but they didn't go to find him. Instead, they came to make things difficult for him. The Wang family members felt that they had suffered internal injuries that were difficult to heal. They wanted to acknowledge this family friend, but he didn't. Now, where could they go to find a family friend? Besides, even if they could, they didn't dare to. Those who went to find the emperor had to be the family head or the ancestor, but everyone knew that no matter who it was, they couldn't hide a secret from the emperor. Even if they found him, the emperor would look at them and say, "Damn, it's your Wang family's fault. How dare you ask me to uphold justice?" That would only cause the Wang family to be finished faster. When they returned to the Wang family, the higher-ups of the family discussed. Everyone's face was full of worry and disbelief. How could this be? How could it be defined as an online war of words? How could this be? Then, the pavilion master of the Nine Heavens Pavilion asked to see the Wang family head. The family head had to come out personally. The person who came was a top figure in Shangjing. The Wang family was now in a precarious situation and couldn't be offended. The people sent by the Wang family are all here. The pavilion master gave out a spatial ring and said earnestly, "It's just an online dispute, there's no need to assassinate, right?" This has caused a lot of difficulty in the work of various places. The shield representatives of various places are very dissatisfied. Now that the world is peaceful, why did you send out so many assassins? We all believe that the Wang family is innocent, and we also believe that the Wang family can prove its innocence. Justice is in the hearts of the people. Wang family head, don't do such things in the future. I'm almost forced to go to Fenghai because of you. Please be considerate of the people working below. Hee goodbye. Yes, Wang family head, as a meritorious family, you have to create a fair environment for this society. In a harmonious society, everyone has a responsibility. Don't fight and kill for no reason. Especially meritorious families, you have to set an example. The pavilion master didn't say much and left after sitting for a few minutes. The Wang family members were silent for a long time before opening the spatial ring. Unsurprisingly, there were more than 1,700 heads inside. These people were naturally the assassins sent to assassinate Zhou Shuai's company, some of the Wang family members, and the 30 people sent to Phoenix City, as well as a branch of the entire Phoenix City. Everyone's heads were here, neatly arranged. Not a single one was missing. Now, the heads were back, but the bodies were nowhere to be found. According to the words of the pavilion master of the Nine Heavens Pavilion, fallen leaves will eventually return to their roots. Chapter 11:13. What the fuck are you talking about? The head of the Wang clan almost fainted on the spot. Is this what you mean by returning to the roots? Killing all of them and only sending their heads back? Is this what you mean by returning to the roots? The last words of the pavilion master before he left were very clear. We firmly support fairness and punish lawlessness. If someone from the Zhuai company comes here to kill your Wang clan, we will kill them without mercy. Justice is in people's hearts. Right or wrong is not determined by strength. The head of the Wang clan smashed the study room. How can you have the nerve to say that? Zhuai company's people come to assassinate us? Do they dare? Do they have the strength? They won't even come. But our Wang clan can only swallow this grievance? It's too humiliating. What do you mean by the various departments are dissatisfied? How can the various departments deal with the assassins of the Wang clan? Is this a joke? Justice is in people's hearts. Right or wrong is not determined by strength. We clearly have the strength to run rampant in the world, but you forced us to fight a war of words with an ordinary troll company. What's the use of strength then? But the situation told the Wang clan one thing: you can only deal with it like this. Those who went to assassinate, bribe, poach. There was not a single exception, and all of them had returned with their heads. Even those who were on the way were all killed. Not a single fish escaped the net. This was a feeling of being betrayed at the slightest sound, causing the entire Wang clan to feel uneasy. Because of this, the Wang clan immediately called for an emergency meeting. This is not a good sign. No, it's too bad. The head of the Wang clan directly put a cup of life origin water in his hand, ready to drink it at any time. When he came back to report, he was really shocked by the attitude of the higher-ups. Under the surging of his blood, he almost suffered internal injuries. The minister's attitude should be because he discovered something after coming to the ancestral dragon martial arts festival. He only targeted the 4 clans, not because he didn't discover anything, but because he left some leeway. But you just want to be lucky. The head of the Wang clan, Wang Han, frowned and looked at the white-haired old man sitting in the room. Third brother's wife, didn't I tell you not to covet the spots of the ancestral dragon martial arts festival? But what did you do? What about now? Didn't everything start from there? The old man lowered his head and didn't say anything. There was no way to explain it. That was because although he looked old, he was actually the family head's great-grandson. There were 2 Wang clans in the capital. However, apart from the senior executives of Shangjing, very few people knew that the 2 Wangs were actually one family. 300 years ago, 2 brothers were fighting for the head of the family. The one who lost left home in anger and created a powerful Wang family that could call the wind and summon the rain. However, it was also the one who left the house in anger. Before he died, he requested to return to the family, so that the 2 families would secretly merge into one. This was the benefit of strength. As long as you had enough strength, the rules would naturally compromise for you. Of course, on the surface, there were still 2 Wang clans. This was more in line with the law of aristocratic families not putting all their eggs in one basket. As for the Wang family that was causing trouble in the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, it was led by another Wang family disciple. However, this was not the main point, so there was no need to go into detail here. Others may not know the true relationship between the 2 Wang clans, but how could the minister not know? The last time the minister came to the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, he personally investigated the matter of Qin Fangyang. He dealt with 4 clans in a row with thunderous methods. It seemed that the laws were strict and ruthless. However, anyone with a discerning eye would know that the matter was hastily settled. The head of the Wang clan, Wang Han, said, "After that day, I said that the minister must have found out about you, and confirmed that the Wang clan was involved. But in order to save some face for our ancestors, he restrained himself and stopped at the last minute." But Minister Chu Yang's position on this matter had changed from the moment he left the ancestral dragon. He no longer had the slightest inclination in his opinion. In other words, although the minister left some leeway for the Wang clan, at the same time, we lost our biggest backer. We lost it forever. The Wang clan's clan lord, Wang Han, sighed deeply and said, "From the words of the minister, it is clear that he believes that your Wang clan is innocent. He believes that your Wang clan can prove your innocence." What does that mean? It means that he will no longer care whether the Wang clan is dead or alive. The Wang clan will have to rely on themselves in the future. Moreover, they have to prove their innocence through normal means. All crooked methods and all kinds of tricks are forbidden. If they are used, they will be met with a backlash. If they are used, they will be digging their own graves. He sighed in exasperation. Look at what you've done, You can see the consequences now, right? You've squandered the glory and power of our ancestors with such a trivial matter as the Ancestor Dragon Gaolu martial art competition. Everyone from the Wang family present glared at the old man. That old man could no longer remain calm. This accusation was too big, and he could not bear it. He hurriedly said, "It may not be because of the ancestral dragon martial arts festival." The minister said with certainty that Qin Fangyang is his good friend. Wang Han's eyes emitted a cold light. Did you not participate in the erasing of Qin Fangyang's traces? That old man, Wang Ping, said, the minister sees the human heart. What is there to hide from? But Qin Fangyang really wasn't killed by us. Perhaps the minister understood this matter and withdrew himself from it. The matter of dragons snatching over veins has been going on for a long time. It's already an unwritten rule. Bringing it up now is just a pretext. Qin Fangyang is the key. In other words, Qin Fangyang was killed by the Wang clan, not by the Wang clan. One had to admit that Wang Ping's words were not wrong. If Qin Fangyang did not die and successfully obtain the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, even if there was only one, none of these things would have happened. The ancestral dragon martial arts festival could still continue, and it could still be an unwritten rule. Qin Fangyang was indeed the main point. Wang Han slammed the table and glared, "Impudent!" Instantly, the atmosphere in the meeting room became agitated. If you did not act rashly at the ancestral dragon martial arts festival, would the minister have noticed? Yes, would the minister have come to the Wang clan alone to investigate the case? In the end, wasn't it you who attracted the minister's attention? After a round of indiscriminate bombardment, Wang Ping panted heavily but did not say a word. Let's get down to business. Is there any meaning in pursuing the cause and effect now? Wang Han knocked on the table, and everyone finally stopped. Now, the minister has already made his stance clear. I believe the emperor will not have any objections. Look at the left and right heavenly king's stances one after another, and the four great marshals' support. What does this mean? Wang Han's gaze was cold as he said, "This means that the higher-ups have already confirmed and reached a consensus that this matter was done by us. But due to the glory of our ancestors, they cannot touch our clan. So, on one hand, they are suppressing us, and on the other hand, they are supporting the other party, resulting in the current confrontation. In other words, the Wang clan is now standing opposite all the higher-ups. This can be confirmed now. Even if we can win this battle of public opinion, our position in the minister's heart is destined to be irretrievable. All the people sent out, without exception, were killed. This stance could not be more obvious. It is true that the Nine Heavens Pavilion has a high position and power, but without the permission of the higher-ups, they would not be so ruthless." Wang Han heaved a long sigh. "This is the situation now. What should we do in the aftermath of this matter? Everyone, let's discuss and work together to get through this difficult time." Everyone was silent. The fact that the pavilion master of the Nine Heavens Pavilion had personally come forward to deliver the heads had already explained many problems. Wang Ping raised his head. His white hair reflected the white light, making it appear even whiter. He said in a low voice, "Clan Master, now that this matter has come to this, we can all foresee what will happen in the future. I believe that there must be a reason for killing Qin Fangyang. Since there is a reason and purpose, killing him is no big deal. There is no need to regret it. But why dig up He Yuanyue's grave? I really want to understand." After this matter was done, there was still such clear evidence left behind. Even if the higher-ups did not intervene, it would still cause a huge uproar. I believe that everyone with brains knows this. Clan Master, you must know this better than us. After all, the clan master is the one at the helm. So, why did you still do this and make such a choice? Wang Han's face slowly darkened. He said coldly, "First, I want to tell you that Qin Fangyang was not killed by us." Wang Ping's lips curled into a cold smile. Ha! And second, Hiyuenue's grave was also not dug up by us. Wang Han said word by word, "Do you understand? This is my answer. Do you need me to repeat it again?" "Understood. These were not done by our clan." Wang Ping nodded. "But I'm not talking about this. I want to ask, why did you do it? Since you knew the consequences, why did you still do it?" Wang Han almost fainted from anger. How many times had he said it? This guided, however, Wang Han suddenly realized that it was not only Wang Ping. There were actually a few people in the clan looking over curiously. Obviously, they were very interested in the answer to this question. Another one asked straightforwardly, "That's right, clan master. Since you knew that the consequences could be very serious, why did you still do it?" Damn it. This topic could not be avoided. The reason is very simple. I think there was a reason why we had to do it. Doing so would affect the future of the Wang clan. Wang Han said indifferently, "Since you all have doubts, then I will explain this once, and only this once." Chapter 11:14. The head of the Wang clan, Wang Han, sighed deeply. The Wang clan has been under the protection of the heavenly King Fei Hong for so many years. But now, the Wang clan has fallen into an awkward situation. Or rather, it has been like this since hundreds or thousands of years ago. The Wang clan is declining day by day. You should all be able to see this. This is an undeniable reality. The reason is that in the past 10,000 years, no expert has appeared in the Wang clan. Perhaps in the past, the Wang clan had nothing to worry about due to the contributions of our ancestors. But as time passes, the glory of our ancestors and the kindness of our ancestors become fainter and fainter. Now, many people have even forgotten the existence of our ancestors and the sacrifices he made. They have forgotten that this continent was fought for by our ancestors with their lives. In so many years, our Wang clan has firmly held the position of the number one clan. But now, we are slowly declining, and we don't even dare to fight for it. The reason is that we can't win. As for the Yu clan, they didn't even need to fight for it. They naturally became the number one clan. Because the emperor is here, because the heavenly king of the right is here. Even if our Wang clan still has the foundation and strength of the number one clan, do we dare to fight with the Yu clan? The answer is obvious. We don't dare. Why? Because our Wang clan doesn't have a top expert. We don't have any deterrence. Do you understand? From what happened today, all of you should have felt it. If our Wang clan had a heavenly king or even a marshal, would there be such a situation where everyone pushed the wall when it was down? No! The head of the Wang clan said firmly. Everyone in the Wang clan nodded silently. Why didn't the emperor ask about it? Why did he stay out of it and allow so many people to deal with our Wang clan? If my ancestor were still alive, would the emperor throne have the same attitude as he does right now? Everyone knows the answer, right? Everyone in the Wang clan nodded. It's still the same. After our ancestors, our descendants failed to live up to our expectations. We didn't make the Wang clan produce a peerless expert. Right now, the Wang family's predicament seems to be extremely bad, but it's very simple to resolve. We only need to send out a heavenly king. We don't even need to send out a heavenly king. A martial-level expert is enough. Even if they aren't capable enough and don't have a commander talent, having a sword monarch or saber demon would be enough. However, our Wang clan has never had such a top-notch expert. As new meritorious clans continue to rise, our Wang clan will only continue to decline until we become obscure and completely withdraw from the ranks of the top clans in Shangjing. There are frequent wars on the continent, and new heroes and clans are constantly emerging. This is no longer something that can be predicted, but a fact, a reality. Those who do not plan for the overall situation will not be able to plan for a region. Those who do not plan for all ages will not be able to plan for a moment. In the future, the rise and fall of the old and the rise and fall of the new is the most important matter for the Wang family. If they couldn't compete, how could they support such a large family business? But other families have marshals, generals, and legends. What do we have? Everyone else is still alive and kicking high and mighty. What does our family have? Wang Han asked everyone. Everyone lowered their heads and remained silent. If we don't think of a way, will the future Wang clan rely on continuously selling off the family property of our ancestors to survive? Even if that's the case, how long can it last? A clan can either prosper forever, but as soon as there is a trace of decline, it will immediately become the target of public criticism and become the target of hungry wolves from all sides. It's impossible that you don't know this, right? And my plan is to have the Wang clan give birth to a peerless expert with a 100% probability. As long as it succeeds, even the level of a heavenly king is the bottom line. Perhaps an existence that surpasses the minister. As long as it succeeds, our Wang clan is bound to prosper for tens of thousands of years, or even forever. Wang Han's eyes swept across everyone like a sharp sword. Based on this premise, what can't be done? As long as it succeeds, what's the harm in reputation? Not to mention that the history books will only be written by the victors. Everyone continued to remain silent. Obviously, they were shocked by the clan head's words. The level of a heavenly king was already considered low. Perhaps an existence that surpasses the minister. These words shocked everyone to the point that their minds were a little buzzing. So what the clan head had been planning all this time was actually such a big matter. Clan head, may we ask what exactly are you planning? An old man asked in a low voice. You don't need to know. You just need to cooperate. Wang Han said stiffly, this matter must be kept absolutely secret. Clan head, are you confident? Several people asked at the same time. Of course I'm confident. I have a full 90% confidence. Wang Han said solemnly, the last 10% will have to depend on heaven's will. Manpower has already reached the limit. As soon as these words came out, the entire conference room immediately became lively. Everyone vaguely knew that the clan head had been secretly doing something for many years. However, the clan head had always been reliable. The entire Wang clan had always admired him, so they didn't want to delve deeper. Especially since he said so, it meant that he was definitely confident. 90% confidence, 10% chance of heaven's will. What was the difference between this and 90% certainty? We have no objections. We look forward to the clan head's good news. Everyone said in unison. In order for this matter to succeed, I guess everyone will have to bear some grievances in the process. We might even have to pay some price. Wang Han said softly, but I can tell you very clearly. As long as this matter succeeds, even if we have to sacrifice half of the Wang clan, or more than half of the clan, it will be worth it. Understood. Now is the battle of public opinion. Let the push hand team take action. All the Wang clan's enterprises and related units, move out. We will do our best to prove our innocence. Let's have a fair battle of public opinion. Even if we can't completely defeat them, we must ensure that we don't fall into a complete disadvantage. It can't be one-sided. Yes, clan head. Meeting adjourned. There's one more thing, clan head. Right now, HUNUS students are constantly rushing to Shangjing from all over the world, threatening to cause trouble for our clan and take revenge. These people, how should we deal with them? Wang Han frowned and said, have the 5 people from the operation team who went to Phoenix City returned. They're already on their way. Make sure that these 5 people are not caught. The material evidence will be used against them. There can't be any more witnesses. Yes. As for those people, persuade them nicely and treat them with respect. You must understand that our Wang clan did not kill Qin Fangyang, nor did we dig up his grave. Our Wang clan is innocent. Do you understand? We are proving our innocence. Before the truth is revealed, we are innocent. It's just that we are in a place of suspicion. That's all. Understood. However, if the other party is too agitated and kills us, limited self-defense is to do your best to subdue them and send them to the law department in Shangjing for punishment. Wang Han said calmly, there are still laws in this world. Clanhead, you are wise. Remember to always show that our Wang clan is innocent and has been wronged. We are innocent. Understood. Go. As soon as Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan appeared, they quickly felt that they were being watched. Especially after they returned to Shangjing, they felt that countless divine thoughts were connected to them. However, the two of them did not care at all. Come on. As long as the two of us are together, little duo has the spatial extermination pagoda. As long as we don't encounter existences like Elder Wan and Elder Shui, no matter how ferocious the surprise attack is, no matter how heavy the attack is, or how fatal it is, we can hide in the spatial extermination pagoda. As long as their heads did not fall off, they could use the Heaven Men's Stone to save their lives. Therefore, although Zhuo Xiaoduo saw the Wang clan as a strong enemy and knew that their strength was definitely not a match for the Wang clan's tens of thousands of years of accumulation, he was still very calm and calm. Even if the worst situation was to happen, even if a Heavenly King Realm expert wanted to take the two of them down, with their powerful half-step Skysoar cultivation, they would be able to buy half a breath's worth of time. And half a breath's worth of time was enough for them to enter the spatial extermination pagoda. Zhuo Xiaoduo's divine soul was tightly locked on the spatial extermination pagoda. His big hand held Zhuo Xiaoyan's small hand as they strolled around the streets of Shangjing, just like before. Zhuo Xiaoduo held Zhuo Xiaoyan's small hand. He felt that the small hand was soft and smooth, slender and soft, as if it was boneless. Although he did not have any other thoughts in his heart, his mouth could not help but split open, laughing with satisfaction and arrogance. Yes, let's take my cat for a walk. Zhuo Xiaoyan's face was as cold as ice, but she did not struggle. She let Zhuo Xiaoduo hold her hand as they strolled through the crowd. Only the bottom of her heart was a little annoyed. This little dog is too insensible. Why is he holding my hand so tightly? Doesn't he know that this young lady is holding his hand? Forget it. Today this young lady will take it as walking my dog. The two of them held each other's small hand, walking the cat and the dog in their hearts. Everyone's heart was filled with joy. The crowd in front of them parted. Someone was heading straight towards them. Their target was very clear. Zhuo Xiaoduo used a little strength in his hand to signal to Zhuo Xiaoyan. Coming. Zhuo Xiaoyan also tightened her hand, signaling to Zhuo Xiaoduo. Coming. The two of them could not help but sneer in their hearts. In such a public place, they actually came to find them so quickly? Was the Wang family really so arrogant? The crowd suddenly parted, and there was a loud laugh. Ha ha. Zhuo Xiaoduo's face darkened. He saw a fair and tender little fatty coming towards them. He was not very tall at most 1.73 meters or so. He had a crew cut in front of him, and there was actually a small braid at the back of his head. That braid looked like a sparrow's tail, but only on one side. It seemed that he had used hair gel to make it shine. The fatty boy was completely black. He wore a black shirt, black trousers, and black leather shoes. Only the outermost part of his clothes was an extremely flashy, snow-white fur coat that covered all the way to his feet. Just like that, under the protection of a few guards, he gracefully appeared in front of Zhuo Xiaoduo with a large entourage. The coat fluttered as he walked, flapping in the wind. The big sunglasses that covered half of his face reflected the neon lights on the street. The little fatty strode forward as if there was no one around. Naturally, he had a domineering aura. He looked down on everything, and those who stood in his way would die. Yes, this was the kind of arrogant look. The surrounding crowd dodged, their eyes filled with shock and fear. It was really the ostentatious appearance of a mafia boss. Chapter 11:15. Ha, Zhuan's sister-in-law. The chubby guy was overjoyed. I've been looking for you guys for 3 days. Zhuo Xiaoduo looked over. There were several people. This chubby guy was the little brother they met during the trial, Xiao Xia. Little shrimp? Zhuo Xiaoduo looked at Xiao Xia from the corner of his eyes. His gaze was somewhat unfriendly. This guy's appearance was even more showy than his own. This was simply a provocation. Wah! Xiao Xia looked around and laughed. How was it? How was it? I told you that Zhuo would definitely remember me. How was it? How was it? The guard beside him was speechless. You're the first successor of the largest family in the astral souls continent. How could you be this excited when someone remembers you? Could you be any more shameless? Could you not embarrass your ancestor, the heavenly king of the right? You're looking for me? What's the matter? Zhuo Xiaoduo frowned. Zhuo, you've come to Shangjing. As the little brother of the local tyrant, how could I not be a good host? Zhuo, you're so mean. How could you forget about your brother when you came to Shangjing? Xiao Xia stuck out his belly and complained first. Then he laughed out loud. You don't have to say anything. Zhuo is in Shangjing. I'll take care of everything, including food, accommodation, transportation, and entertainment. A dragon. A one-stop service. Boss, don't worry and enjoy life. Zhuo Xiaoduo's eyelids twitched. Zhuo Xiaonian glanced at Xiao Xia with an indifferent expression. Xiao Xia instinctively felt as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over him from head to toe. He couldn't help but shiver. He looked at Zhuo Xiaonian fearfully and said flatteringly, "Hello, sister-in-law." Zhuo Xiaonian snorted. With his sister-in-law's response, little Hero Yu's entire body felt lighter. He immediately stepped forward and pulled Zhuo Xiaoduo's hand enthusiastically. Without any explanation, he walked forward and patted his chest as he said, "Zhuo, don't worry. In Shangjing, that's my territory. Here, my words carry weight." He lowered his voice and whispered into Zhuo Xiaoduo's ear, "You're even more effective than the Crown Prince's words." He wasn't bragging. A certain shrimp was different from a certain Xiaoduo. The latter was a legitimate descendant of the nth generation, a legitimate successor. Regardless of identity, origin, reputation, or status, they were all real. In addition, everyone knew about them, so of course his words carried more weight. But if he were to say it out loud, it would be a little. The guard beside him, however, was speechless. "Big shot, even if you're telling the truth, can't you use telepathy when you say that?" They whispered in his ear. "What kind of godly maneuver is this?" Anyone with a little bit of cultivation would be able to hear it. "Zhuo, have you and sister-in-law eaten?" Little Hero Yu asked enthusiastically. "Not yet." It's my treat. It has to be my treat. Boss, please don't stand on ceremony with me. Make a call. Book the entire place tonight. No, book it now. Book it until tomorrow morning. Tonight, I want to get drunk with my boss." Little Hero Yu gave the order without hesitation. One of the guard's lips twitched and he went to make a call. "Little Shrimp, looks like this kid has been doing well recently." Zhuo Xiaoduo squinted. "So impressive? Isn't this all thanks to you?" "TSK, I don't have that kind of luck. Even if I did, I wouldn't give it to you." Zhuo Xiaoduo squinted. "Zhuo, I'm sad to hear you say that. What's going on? Didn't you say that you weren't valued in the family? That's not the case now." Speaking of this, Little Hero Yu's eyebrows danced as he laughed heartily. "Ever since the last trial, I don't know how, but when I returned to the family, I became the first successor." "Really?" Hearing this, Zhuo Xiaoduo was shocked, truly shocked. The Yu family that Little Hero Yu belonged to was the family of the heavenly king of the right. It was also the family of the Emperor Zhai Xing. Without a doubt, it was the most powerful family in the astral souls continent. Such a large family had its own way of choosing its successor, but it should be quite strict and especially cautious. Often, their descendants might not be able to reach a conclusion even when they were hundreds of years old. How could this little fatty be chosen as the first in line to inherit the family so quickly? Wasn't this too hasty? It was child's play. Zhuo Xiaoduo had only known Little Hero Yu for a short while, but he felt that he had some understanding of this fatty boy. With this guy's arrogant appearance, how could he be the head of the family? "What, you're not bragging, are you? How could the dignified Yu family decide such a big thing so easily? You're not trying to give me face, are you?" Zhuo Xiaoduo expressed his disbelief from the bottom of his heart. "Don't say that Zhuo doesn't believe it. When I first heard about it, I didn't believe it myself. At that time, I just took it as a joke." Little Hero Yu laughed and said, "But things are just that bizarre, especially when I'm the first in line to inherit the family. It was personally decided by the ancestor himself. he said that he saw that I would definitely be successful in the future, so it was decided just like that. The ancestor has spoken, who dares to disobey? Who dares to disobey? Who dares to disobey? Thus, I got promoted without knowing anything. Wah! The ancestor personally decided. Zhuxiaoduo's eyes were a little blank. This ancestor didn't seem very reliable. It's the heavenly king of the right, my ancestor. Then, just a month ago, the head of the family announced this matter to the world, confirming my status as the successor. He gave me 3 pieces of the Divine Sense Protection Jade Pendant of the Emperor Ancestor. 3 pieces. 3 pieces ha. When he reached the final stage of the Jade Pendant, little Hero Yu's bones were obviously lighter by a few ounces. It was obvious that he was extremely proud of himself. But to be able to become the successor of the #1 family in the Astral Souls continent was indeed something to be proud of. Zhuxiaoduo was fascinated by the story. While he was envious and jealous, he also sighed that the Yu family was indeed the #1 family. Even the selection of the successor was so bizarre. Looking at little Fatty's arrogant behavior, Zhuxiaoduo was deeply worried about the future of the Yu family. With little Fatty's character, if it was any other family, he would have been marginalized long ago. But in the Yu family, he actually became the #1 treasure. They even gave him 3 pieces of the Emperor Ancestor's Divine Sense Jade Pendant. Could it be any more ridiculous? Could it be that the Yu family's successor was chosen according to the special concept of choosing the most unreliable? Let's go, Zhua. I'll bring you and sister-in-law to tour the scenery of Shangjing. Later, we'll go to the Heavenly Palace and get drunk. Little Fatty's face was full of glory. He was full of radiance and was in high spirits. When he walked, his legs were wide open from left to right. Kid, the 2 of us are in Shangjing now. It's quite sensitive. Zhuxiaoduo vaguely reminded him. It's all right. Little Hero Yu said loudly as he walked forward. He ignored the passers-by on the roadside, his guards, and even the divine senses monitoring them in the dark. He laughed loudly and said, Zhua, don't worry. With your little brother here, you can do whatever you want in Shangjing. Whoever dares to provoke my boss, I'll teach them and their whole family a lesson. These words were indeed domineering. But coming from the mouth of such an arrogant fatty bai, who looked like a hedonistic prodigal, Zhuxiaoduo found it hard to believe. He felt that his horizons had been broadened once again. At the same time, he felt that this matter was reliable. The countless divine senses were immediately shaken. This Zhuxiaoduo was so close to the Yu clan? This fatty bai, did he get the clan's approval to say such words so rashly? One of the guards, who was experienced and prudent, reminded him in a low voice, Young master, there are too many people around. It's better not to say such things casually. What did I say? Making friends is the most important thing. Instantly become friends and never regret. Don't you have any sense of responsibility? How can we make friends? Little Hero Yu looked around and raised his head. I'm the young master of the Yu clan. This is how I make friends. What about it? Who dares to say no? The guard looked up at the sky with a melancholy face. This little fatty. How could he be so perverse? After giving him a warning, he actually became even more vicious. Truly melancholy. We are the team of the future master of the clan. We have been secretly nurtured for so many years. Each of us has gone through countless experiences and risked our lives to stand out. Then, finally, the successor of the clan master has been decided. But the person who has been confirmed is actually such an unreliable fellow. He is good at eating, drinking, and playing, but he is not willing to practice martial arts. Ever since the Heavenly King of the Right personally decided on this fellow's position as the first successor, the Yu clan has been in chaos. Every day, there would be several highly respected elders and the direct descendants of the Yu family who would come to supervise little Hero Yu's training with a stick. And the process was basically repeated every day. There were rarely any changes. First, little Hero Yu, who liked to sleep naked, would wake up from his dreams with a basin of water. Then he would be dragged out naked. Second, They would start the routine beating every morning. Yes, that's right, it was a beating. Because little Fatty U's practice was just to deal with it. Just supervision was not enough. Since supervision was not enough, they would arrange for people to spar with him and beat him up mercilessly. This would make him have a desire to live, and naturally, he would cultivate on his own. After the routine beating, they would enter the third stage, consume heavenly treasures and enter a state of cultivation. Every time, there would be a peak sky soaring realm cultivator guiding the spiritual energy in little Fatty's body to enter this state of cultivation. Basically, it was that peak sky soaring realm cultivator who brought him to practice and helped him practice. The fourth stage would continue to beat him up. The fifth stage would guide the spiritual energy into his body. The sixth stage would continue to beat him up. The seventh stage would be another beating. The eighth stage would be another beating. Then at 11:30 p.m. Finally, little Fatty Yu went to sleep. And so, the above process was repeated 4 days a week without any changes. The other 3 days, little Fatty Yu could freely use and relax. Little Fatty Yu was beaten to the point that he howled every day. I don't want to be the successor anymore. I don't want to be the successor anymore. But the more he shouted, the more ruthless he was beaten. He was beaten to the point that if he didn't say anything, it wouldn't be over. No, if he didn't say anything, it wouldn't be over either. There was a process to the beating, and there was a time limit to it. Although little Fatty was in an abyss of suffering for 4 out of the 7 days, as if he was in hell, when it came to the days when he was free to do as he pleased, he became arrogant. He would often say, I'm the Yu family's first successor, the Yu family's young master, and you're letting me eat this? I'm the young patriarch, you let me eat this. He was practically looking for trouble. Of course, little Fatty Yu clan's first successor was partnering with a woman to do business with. One of them was doing business with a woman called Gao Qiao. Although the business was very popular, for the Yu clan's first successor to partner with a woman to do business, it was a loss of face. Moreover, that woman wasn't even in Shangjing. She was remotely commanding him to do things. With just a phone call, this young patriarch eagerly went over. Moreover, he personally went out to rope in customers, but there was no harm without comparison. Although it was a loss of face to do business with Gao Qiao, it was still a legitimate business. As for the other girl, in Fatty Bai's own words, he was trying to pick up a girl. However, that girl didn't even pay attention to him. Yet this guy stuck to her like he was chewing on a sticky bubble gum. He displayed a ferocious bootlicking method, which made people gasp in amazement. It was a marvelous spectacle. But it was undeniable that the two girls who were partnering with Fatty Bai were both stunning. Gao Qiao was already a feast for the eyes, and the other girl called Xin was even more graceful and charming. She was devastatingly beautiful. This made the group of guards who didn't take Fatty Bai seriously criticize and ridicule him in their hearts. This Fatty Bai's taste is really good, and it's another form of 1 against 2. It's really impressive. However, these few days, the Yu clan seemed to be indulging little Fatty even more. They allowed him to play outside for several days in a row, and even stopped the daily beatings. Therefore, little Fatty was extremely happy these few days. Of course, he was also very anxious. In fact, the moments Xiao Duo came to Shangjing, little Hero Yu knew about it. During this period, he had been looking for Xiao Duo's whereabouts. The reason why he was so anxious to find Xiao Duo was because of Gao Qiao's request. Previously, when Xiao Duo disappeared, Li Chenglong blocked the news. But who was Gao Qiao? How could she not know that something might have happened to him? Naturally, she would try to pull some connections. Little Hero Yu, a member of the Yu clan, was a special connection that she could contact. Unfortunately, even if little Hero Yu sent out the Yu clan's men, they still couldn't find Xiao Duo's whereabouts. However, little Hero Yu also found out about Xiao Duo's public network and came to Ancestral Dragon from the Sky Patrol throne. After the name Qin Fangyang spread, little Fatty knew that as long as Zhuo appeared, he would definitely come to Shangjing. Qin Fangyang had an accident, so how could Xiao Duo not come to Shangjing? It would be strange if he didn't come. Since then, little Fatty started to move. For the first time, he mobilized the clan's power as the successor of the clan. He went to investigate thoroughly and confirm how Qin Fangyang died and who killed him. Then, he paid attention to the movements of the entire Shangjing and waited for Zhuo's arrival. The group of people arrived at the most famous restaurant in Shangjing, the Palace of Heaven. Zhuo Xiaoduo took in all the sights. This restaurant was really big. The elevator went all the way to the top floor, which was thousands of square meters. It was brightly lit and rows of maids stood neatly. Countless fresh flowers were piled up on the top floor, leaving only a place for a table. At this moment, there was a roar outside. Countless fireworks shot up into the sky and bloomed in Shangjing's night sky, gradually forming a few big words. A warm welcome to Zhuo's arrival in Shangjing. Then boom boom boom. Another row of fireworks shot up into the sky. Little hero, you welcome Zhuo. Later, another row of fireworks shot up. Zhuo's arrival brings light to Shangjing. This extravagance, this momentum, this grandeur. Zhuo Xiaoduo, who had always thought of himself as a show-off, high-end and high-class person, was dumbfounded. Fuck, is this to welcome me? Those who didn't know would think that it was to welcome the Sky Patrol Minister. After all, that person was the one who was most qualified to be called Zhuo. However, it gave him a lot of face. Look, my arrival brings light to Shangjing. Throughout the meal, the fireworks didn't stop. Bang 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 bang. One row after another. Another row after another. All kinds of compliments, all kinds of nice words, hung in the night sky one after another. A full 2 hours passed, and the night sky remained bright and colorful, extremely magnificent and resplendent. Everyone in Shangjing felt that today was even more festive than the New Year. This is too. Zhuo Xiaoduo's lips twitched. He felt that he was still a country bumpkin. He really didn't know how to play as well as others. Next time, I'll do this too. Although it feels stupid, why do I have a feeling that it's awesome? With this, I reckon that hundreds of millions of people in Shangjing will know that a person with the surname Zhuo has come to Shangjing. Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed. Xiaoxia laughed. That's nothing. I just want them to know that I, Zhuo, have come to Shangjing. Zhuo Xiaoduo looked at the row of fireworks in the sky that said, Little brother Xiaoxia welcomes Zhuo, and said lightly, the direct result of your actions is that you've dragged yourself and your family into this mess. Xiaoxia said, what's wrong with that? Without Zhuo, I would have been killed in the arcane realm. A drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. A life-saving grace. No matter how much I repay it, it's not enough. Zhuo Xiaoduo smiled, nodded, and didn't say anything else. After 3 rounds of wine and more than 100 dishes, Xiaoxia took out a foot-thick file from his space ring. Zhuo, you've come all the way to Shangjing. I don't have anything to give you, so I'll use this as a greeting gift. What's this? This is the Yu family's investigation of teacher Qin Fangyang's case. Zhuo Xiaoduo's expression changed abruptly, and he took it solemnly. Xiaoxia said, this is all the information that has been confirmed so far. Although there isn't a complete chain of evidence, we can confirm that the Wang family has something to do with this case. Let me explain. The Wang family of the War God family and the Wang family of the capital have the same origin. Although they were divided, they have been united for hundreds of years. Whether it's targeting teacher Qin Fangyang or the burglary of Principal He Yuanyue's grave, they were all ordered by the Wang family. I'll take care of it. The only regret is that I can't find out the Wang family's motive for doing this. Regarding this matter, this situation, little hero Yu was really embarrassed. Such a big family, known as the #1 family in the world, couldn't even find out such a small thing in their own territory. They were really ashamed of Zhuo. Zhuo Xiaoduo didn't care too much about this. Xiaoxia's willingness to help him was already beyond his expectations. The information that he could provide should be the best that the government could gather. Naturally, he looked through the file carefully and immersed himself in it. It had to be said that the Yu family was indeed the #1 family. So much information was gathered, and every small matter had the name and phone number of the person in charge. Obviously, these people would have to take responsibility for any falsehood in this information. From the outside to the inside, there were a total of 10 files. The direction of the investigation was confirmed to be the Wang family, and the investigation stopped abruptly. This also proved that the Yu family wasn't prepared to go to war with the Wang family. In other words, there was no need to go to war with the Wang family. Zhou Xiaoduo looked through each file seriously. Seeing that Zhou Xiaoduo didn't say anything, Xiao Xia turned to chat with Zhou Xiaoyan. "Hello, sister-in-law. You're getting more and more beautiful. Thank you." Zhou Xiaoyan looked indifferent. Although she wasn't as cold as usual, the aura that kept people 1,000 miles away was still naturally exuded. This was Zhou Xiaoyan's nature. Except for Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Changlu, she treated everyone else like this. When she was with outsiders, she was naturally vigilant and guarded to the maximum level. The outsiders here included Li Chenglong, Long Yuxing, and Zhou Xiaoduo's best friends. Of course, just like how Zhou Xiaoduo regarded Hu Ruoyun as another relative besides his mother and sister, Zhou Xiaoyan also had exceptions in her heart. There were 3 exceptions. One was Mu Yanyan, the second was He Yuanyue, and the last was Qin Fangyang. But now, among these 3 people, Qin Fangyang was killed, and He Yuanyue's grave was destroyed. For Zhou Xiaoyan, like Zhou Xiaoduo, they were both filled with anger and irreconcilable hatred. The fact that he was able to maintain his composure at this moment was already because of the ranger's kindness. However, this expression was nothing to the ranger. Because this guy endured this kind of expression every day. He had long been used to it. "Sister-in-law, can I ask you something?" Xiao Xia looked distressed. "I want to ask you something." "What is it?" "Go ahead." "It's like this, I like a girl. But this girl. She's always lukewarm to me, but she's not pretentious or anything. She just doesn't like me. I had no choice but to expose my identity, but she became even more distant from me. What do you think is going on?" Xiao Xia's face was full of bitterness as he sighed. This was a sad thing for him. Originally, their relationship had improved a little, but since he returned home from the last trial and became the young master of the Yu family, Emo Xuani's attitude towards him had become colder and colder. It was definitely not a show of refusal to marry into a rich family, but a real coldness. Chapter 11:16. This result, this reality, hurt the hero greatly. Not only that, but everyone in the Yu family was extremely dissatisfied with the hero's actions of licking the dog every day. The little fatty was even beaten up because of this. Because of this matter, the little fatty's father swung a big stick and chased the little fatty around the Yu family like a dog. The little fatty screamed in pain and was beaten until his nose was bruised and his butt was swollen. He scolded again and again, "You useless bastard." What a disappointment. The hero screamed and begged for mercy, "We're really in love." Bullshit. She doesn't even care about you, how can you be in love? You're licking and licking her every day, she doesn't even care about you, but you still go every day. How can you be so useless? The little fatty would have been better off if he didn't say that they were in love. The moment he said this, the entire Yu family exploded in anger. The future patriarch of the Yu clan was appointed by the old ancestor to pursue a girl from an ordinary family. Even if you were willing, our Yu clan would never accept a woman with such a simple background as the patriarch's wife. The patriarch's marriage had always been the most important matter. How could it be decided so carelessly? This was a matter that could decide the future of the Yu family. You want to marry an ordinary girl? It was fine to take her in as a concubine, but to be the patriarch's wife? Don't even think about it, hero. But the hero was deeply in love and had been blinded by love. He was determined to go straight to the southern mountain without looking back. That the little fatty's father was panting heavily at home every day. His mother sighed at home every day. His ancestors and elders were so angry that their stomachs were about to explode. That the hero was so distressed that he was about to go crazy. The girl was unwilling and would not accept it. His family was also unwilling and would not accept it. He was the only one left. But he was truly deeply in love with Emo Xuani, and no matter what, he couldn't let her go. In this lifetime, he only had Emo Xuani in his eyes. "Sister-in-law, what do you think I should do? You've been through this before, can you give me some advice?" The little fatty begged. "I don't know. I don't understand this. Zhuo Xiaoyan nodded honestly. You don't understand this? Then what about you and boss? The ranger was a little confused. Our parents chose us, Zhuo Xiaoyan said. The ranger felt as if he had received 1 billion critical hits. I also want to have such parents. You've never talked about it before? Zhuo didn't even chase after you? The ranger's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. She was supposed to be the #1 goddess in the entire continent. How could she be taken down by Zhuo before she could even put up a fight? This thinking about how he was still being politely told to get lost by the girl, little hero Yu felt very sad and his balls hurt. He wanted to vomit blood. Talk? What is it? Zhuo Xiaoyan was confused. I'm in love, Xiaoxia said. Yeah, we've been dating every day. Zhuo Xiaoyan said in a daze, we've been dating since we were kids. They had been dating since they were young. Were they childhood sweethearts, a perfect match made in heaven? The ranger was getting more and more depressed. After a while, he finally struggled to ask, then when did you two get together? What did Zhuo do to move you? Zhuo Xiaoyan widened her beautiful eyes and said in a daze, there wasn't any time, and he didn't do anything to move me. I knew I was his wife since we were kids. Why are you guys making it so complicated? The ranger picked up his wine glass and drank it in one gulp. He only felt a sense of loss in his heart. It was as if the sky had been blocked out. The ranger could withstand Zhuo Xiaoduo's attack, because Zhuo Xiaoduo was intentionally attacking him. After seeing through Zhuo Xiaoduo's intentions, other than cursing in his heart, there was nothing else he could do. However, Zhuo Xiaoyan was completely unintentional. She didn't even know what she was asking. But every word she said, every unintentional sentence, was even more deadly. Just like that, the ranger, who was a single dog, suffered a series of critical hits that were indescribable. No, this was gradually going beyond the scope of what could be described with pen and ink. So, sister-in-law was child bride. The ranger said weakly, you're the child bride. Zhuo Xiaoyan couldn't take it anymore. Then, we've been free to love since we were kids. Free to love, do you understand? Zhuo Xiaoyan argued anxiously, her voice stern. The ranger was now at a point where he didn't want to speak anymore. Your words are so reasonable. I know I have nothing to say. I won't speak anymore, okay? Sister-in-law, can you teach little shrimp some Sansho moves to deal with girls? The ranger changed his strategy and beat around the bush. Zhuo Xiaoyan thought for a moment. She really felt the ranger's sincerity in asking for help and his kindness in helping Zhuo Xiaoduo. She was willing to help. However, she was really clueless in this regard. The more she thought about it, the more blank her mind became. After a while, she said, people say that you can only understand with experience. I've never had any experience in this area. How would I know what to do? We're really in love. There's no such thing. Never been dealt with. That there's no such thing. That the ranger was in tears after suffering a few more critical hits. Then, sister-in-law, what do you like? The ranger changed his approach again and asked Zhuo Xiaoyan directly. The person he liked was also a high-end beauty. Although she couldn't be compared to his sister-in-law, their interests should be similar, right? I like. Zhuo Xiaoyan thought about it seriously and then said, I like to improve my cultivation, and I also like handy artifacts, or those kinds of connate creatures, 9 heavens spring water, bay laurel honey. Well, these are all things I like. Hee. The ranger felt that he was about to become autistic. Artifacts, innate creatures, Jiuxiao spring water. I know all these things, and I also understand. It's not that you like it. As long as you're human, you have to like it. Well, what is laurel honey? Since my sister-in-law mentioned it, it must be something that exists. It's probably something from legends or myths. In short, it's the kind that's very high-end. But I don't have any of these. I've never even heard of laurel honey. Don't tell me that I need to use a divine weapon to chase after an outstanding girl now? Then who can afford to marry a wife? The ranger drank silently, looking at Zhuo Xiaoduo with resentful eyes from time to time. In comparison, Zhuo was still better, although he was a little cheap. Zhuo Duo and the others were drinking. Although they had a lot on their minds, the atmosphere was still harmonious. On this night, the situation in Shangjing was even more turbulent. Undercurrents were surging and rising. In the eyes of ordinary people, the endless fireworks that night were just rich people playing with fireworks because they had nothing better to do. There were so many fireworks and so many patterns. Even a few million wouldn't be enough. In short, rich people really knew how to play. Treating someone to a drink was such a big deal. Ordinary people like us can only look up to them. As expected, poverty has limited our imagination. However, in the eyes of the upper echelons and the big families in Shangjing, this matter was completely different. This matter had nothing to do with acting tough. This was a signal, an attitude, an extremely arrogant and obvious declaration of their position. It was completely the Yu family announcing to the whole of Shangjing, Zhuo Duo is under my protection. Whoever dares to touch Zhuo Duo is an enemy of the Yu family. That is an enemy of the heavenly king of the right. That is an enemy of the Emperor Zhai Xing. They wanted to use the most obvious way to release the signal, arrogantly announcing it to the whole world. Whoever dares to touch Zhuo Duo, come and try it. The fireworks in the night sky were still rushing up and exploding endlessly. It was as if they wanted to use this method to dispel the darkness of Shangjing's night forever. The Wang family once again called for an emergency meeting. However, this time, only the absolute core of the family could attend. The Yu family has intervened. The situation is getting worse and worse. What should we do about this matter? After the Wang family head, Wang Han, saw the sudden fireworks incident, he seemed to have aged a few years. After all, he had to face the Yu family head-on. This kind of pressure wasn't something that an ordinary person could bear. Check it out. What's going on? I want accurate information. Reporting to head, the first successor of the Yu family head, little hero Yu, met with danger when he went to the Starry Mountain range to train. It was Zhuo Duo who saved his life. After that, little hero Yu followed Zhuo Duo all the way to the Starry Mountain range and was able to create the Starry Mountain range. I see. Head, what should we do about this matter? If the plan continues, we might have to go to war with the Yu family. With the Yu family's strength at its peak, how can we resist them? Wang Han let out a long sigh. His gaze was heavy as he looked into the distance. Over there, fireworks were still rising, exploding in the sky. They formed various kinds of words, rendering the entire night sky colorful and dazzling. It was as if the Yu family was standing in front of him, looking at him coldly and softly saying, "Don't move." He looked at it quietly for a long time. Finally, he closed his eyes and said softly, "There is no turning back the arrow that has been shot. Currently, only Zhuo Duo can satisfy our needs. Even if we have to go to war with the Yu family, this matter is already imperative. There is no turning back." Everyone was speechless. A few people were even puzzled. Going to war with the Yu family was something that no family in the entire Astral Souls continent dared to do. The heavenly king of the right, Emperor Zhai Xing. Just thinking about these two names, no matter who it was, would immediately dispel the idea. If the Wang family were to go against the Yu family now, there would be no other outcome. But the head, why was he so determined? Could it be that he couldn't see the consequences? Chapter 11:17. The clan master would never be so stupid. He considered the future more thoroughly than anyone else. Then what was it? What was it that made the clan master so persistent, so stubborn, and so courageous? The plan remains unchanged. Wang Han made the final decision. Yes. Even if we have to pay the price of the entire Wang clan, as long as this matter succeeds, we will be worthy of our ancestors and future generations. Yes. Let's disperse. Clan master, there is one more thing. What is it? In the past few days, many people from Phoenix City's second high school have been attacking our Wang clan's businesses in different ways and in different fields. There were even people who tried to assassinate us. There were also many who tried to break into our house. Weren't those people sent to the judicial authorities? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Those who were supposed to be detained have all been taken out. Who did it? It's the Liu clan. The people of the Liu family suddenly intervened. All the criminals were taken out by the Liu family. Then they were released and regained their freedom. It is said that this matter was done by the Liu clan's clan master himself. Liu clan? The clan master personally took action? Wang Han turned around like a whirlwind, his eyes wide open. Why did the Liu clan take action? I don't know for now. What's more, since yesterday, the Liu clan began to attack our related industrial chain. The Liu clan's network forces also began to cooperate with Shuai's company to discredit us as much as possible. Just this afternoon, the sons of the Liu clan's clan master personally destroyed several of our branches. Tonight, Old Seven encountered the Liu clan's eldest brother at the entrance of Shangjing Theater. He was seriously injured on the spot. The guards fought with all their might to save Old Seven. It is said that the Liu clan's eldest brother came to stir up trouble from the beginning. Once he attacked, it was a fatal blow. If Old Seven wasn't wearing a high-level demon beast inner armor, I'm afraid. In short, the Liu clan is now showing a state of crazy biting and not hesitating to fight with us. Wang Han was silent again. The Liu clan was not ranked in the top 3 in Shangjing, but it was still ranked in the top 10. For so many years, the Liu family had been keeping a low profile. No matter how the situation changed, the Liu family rarely reacted. They just kept sending their disciples to the Sun Moon Pass to participate in the battle. From the beginning to the end, they did not reveal their strength. Even though all the major families in Shangjing knew that the Liu family was not weak, no one had ever seen them as an opponent. It would not be an exaggeration to say that they were good people for 10,000 years. But this time, why did the Liu family, who had always kept a low profile, stand out so clearly? One had to know that the fact that the clan head had personally protected the assassins who tried to assassinate the Wang family was already the most obvious signal. That was, "Your Wang family, I will definitely go against you." One had to know that as the head of the clan personally making an appearance, it basically meant that they would not rest until one of them was dead. This attitude was even more clearly expressed than the Yu family's fireworks tonight. This was because the Yu family's actions so far, in a sense, could be understood as the young family head repaying a debt of gratitude. After all, up until now, the only person from the Yu family that had appeared was Xiao Yu. None of the senior members of the Yu family had appeared. If the matter had deteriorated to a certain extent, the Yu family's elders only needed to say that the young man was not sensible and was causing trouble. His actions only represented his personal wishes, and this matter could be easily covered up. After all, with the Yu family status, they only needed an excuse to enter. If they wanted to withdraw, they only needed a way out. But the Liu family's clan head had personally made an appearance. That meant that there was no more room for negotiation. Furthermore, if one analyzed the timing of the Liu family's intervention in detail, one would find that it was earlier than the Yu family's declaration. It was even more unyielding and decisive. This was very thought-provoking. It was not taking advantage of the situation, nor was it taking advantage of the situation. It was a clear-cut attack. In other words, the Liu family did not take advantage of the situation because of the Yu family's intervention. It was completely because of their own reasons. Wang Han was silent for a moment. Then he took out his phone and called the Liu family's clan head, Liu Yingfeng. They were both clan heads of big families in Shangjing. Although they could not be considered old friends, they still had some old friendship. At the very least, they had interacted many times. They were not close, nor were they bosom buddies. However, everyone had been in Shangjing for so many years, and there was still some friendship between them. Sometimes, some matters could still be discussed over drinks at the same table. He really could not figure out why the Liu family would do this. They usually did not make any moves, but once they made a move, they went to the extreme. "When did our Wang family offend you?" The phone rang twice before it was connected. An indifferent voice came from the other end. "Why are you calling me, Clan Head Wang? Do you have any instructions?" Wang Han smiled and said, "Brother Liu, long time no see. I miss you, so I called to ask about you." Lu Yingfeng said indifferently, "Thank you for your concern, Brother Wang. My body is still healthy." Wang Han could feel the clear alienation and indifference in the other party's voice. However, this was what he did not understand the most. In the end, how did the Wang family offend the Lu family? At this moment, the Wang family was in troubled times, and the situation was unstable. Not only was it unwise to have a big enemy like the Lu family under the tree, but it was also courting death. If it could be resolved, the Wang family would be willing to pay a considerable price. However, the crux of the problem now was that the Wang family did not know how they had offended the Lu family at all. Thinking of this, Wang Han asked straightforwardly, "Brother Lu, I really don't understand this phone call. I have to call and ask for a clear explanation. I wonder how my Wang family offended Brother Lu? Or offended the Lu family? Please tell me, Brother Lu. If I am really in the wrong, I will bring a bramble to ask for punishment and cut off the karma. If there is any misunderstanding with my relationship with Brother Lu, this old man believes that there is no misunderstanding that cannot be resolved." Wang Han directly said everything in one breath. He even lowered his posture. On the other side, the Lu family head was silent for a moment and said lightly, "Why can't I understand Brother Wang's words?" Wang Han was displeased. "Brother Lu, why do you have to speak in secret in front of an honest person? Why do you lose your dignity?" Haha. The Lu family head's laughter was heard. The phone was on speaker mode, and the Wang family members present could clearly hear that the Lu family head's laughter contained indescribable sadness, bitterness, and anger. "Wang Han, do you really want to know why I am going against you?" The Lu family head did not hide it this time and spoke rudely. He even called out his name directly, no longer hiding anything. It was an imposing manner that made it clear that he would not rest until one of them was dead. Even through the phone, it was exceptionally clear. Wang Han's heart suddenly trembled and he said, "Please speak." He could not help but hold his breath, and an inexplicable ominous premonition rapidly grew in his heart. "Then I will tell you clearly." Lu Yingfeng gritted his teeth and said word by word, "Phoenix City, Huanyue's grave was dug up by your Wang family, right?" Wang Han's heart skipped a beat. "What does it have to do with you?" "Ha! What does it have to do with me?" "Ha, Wang Han, what does it have to do with me?" "Wang Han, you son of a bitch." Lu Yingfeng suddenly did not care about his manners and cursed angrily. He said in a hoarse voice, "Wang Han, I will tell you the reason clearly. Huanyue has another name, Lu Qianqian. She is my, Lu Yingfeng's, daughter. My flesh and blood. My, Lu Yingfeng's, youngest daughter. The daughter that I, Lu Yingfeng, owe the most in my life. My only daughter. Even when she was still alive, every time I thought of this daughter, it felt like a knife was cutting my heart. Back then, because she was plotted against, her foundation was destroyed, and her martial path came to a premature end. As her father, I could not find the spirit medicine to cure her. I was already in so much pain that I wanted to die. Now that she is dead, you actually dug up her grave so that she can't have peace after death." Lu Yingfeng gritted his teeth and said, "Wang Han, today I will tell you frankly, I, Lu Yingfeng, and your Wang family know that you dug up my daughter's grave, so I will dig up your Wang family's ancestral grave." Wang Han's heart shook. So that was it. So that was the truth. Lu Yingfeng's actions could be considered to be before the Yu family officially came out to receive Zuoxiao Duo, and it did not have much to do with Zuoxiao Duo. Instead, he was the one who stood up for his daughter. Even at that time, Lu Yingfeng clearly knew that the Lu family was no match for the Wang family, but he still chose to come out personally. What kind of determination was this? No wonder. This was no longer a great enemy, but a great enmity. Perhaps there was a chance to turn a great enemy into a friend, but how could such an irreconcilable enmity be resolved? Wang Han was shocked and asked, "Huanyue, Lu Qianqian. How could this be?" His mind was in a mess for a moment. Originally, if there was no incident with Hero Yu at night, this incident would not have caused too much of a shock to him. However, The Yu family was already incomparable to the declining Wang family. If there was also the Lu family, which was also one of the top 10 families and had vowed to take revenge, then the Wang family really had no chance of winning. He Yuanyue is my daughter, Lu Qianqian. Lu Yingfeng gritted his teeth. My Qianqian has already been buried underground, and now even after death, she still can't rest in peace. When she was alive, she begged me not to expose her existence. I couldn't give her more, so I could only comply. However, I didn't expect that even after she died, I, as her father, couldn't even protect her grave. Wang Han, what kind of bastards are you? And Qin Fengyang, that's my son-in-law. Lu Yingfeng laughed mournfully. In order to fulfill my daughter's last wish, I used my connections to influence and secretly help Qin Fengyang enter the ancestral Dragon High Martial Arts School. However, I didn't expect that it would cost his life. Before my daughter died, she wrote a letter to me, asking me to take care of her lover. In the end, it was me who personally sent my son-in-law to the gates of hell. Wang Han, my Lu family, what enmity and grudge does your family have? Wang Han, you're specifically stabbing me where my heart hurts the most. Now, you actually have the face to call me and ask why? Who are you pretending to be innocent for? Do you think that you can cover the sky with one hand after digging up someone's grave and no one will ask about it? Was there no one who would back her up? How could it be so quiet and peaceful? Let me tell you, she has it. She still has her father. She still has her father. Chapter 11:18. The anger and grief from the other side came crashing down. Wang Han felt his mind was in a mess. Lu Yingfeng roared. The phone was cut off with a click. Lu Yingfeng must have either smashed the phone or crushed it in a fit of anger. Wang Han's phone was still in his hand as he stood there in a daze. The other members of the Wang clan who were also in the secret room were all dumbstruck and speechless for a long time. They understood. They completely understood. Why Qin Fengyang could enter Ancestral Dragon High School as a teacher so easily. Why He Yuanyue, an ordinary person, could single-handedly support Phoenix City's No. 2 high school and send so many talents to the astral souls. Logically speaking, even if she had the heart, she definitely did not have the financial resources to do so. Why would the Lu family bring all the people who wanted to avenge He Yuanyue? Why would the Lu family be so agitated when He Yuanyue's grave was destroyed? So that was it. This was the truth. This was reality. He Yuanyue was Lu Qianqian, the youngest daughter of the Lu family's head. She was also the apple of Lu Yingfeng's eye. Everyone knew that the Lu family was prosperous. Lu Yingfeng had a wife and more than 10 concubines. He had more than 90 sons, but he did not have a daughter. Who would have thought that He Yuanyue was the only child of the Lu family? One could imagine how precious He Yuanyue's only sister would be to the Lu family's head and the elders of the Lu family, as well as her 90 brothers, that now their treasure was gone, and they had to dig up her grave. The Wang family naturally became the outlet for the Lu family's guilt and discomfort for nearly 100 years. Moreover, this vent was strong enough to bear all of the Lu family's anger, all of their longing, all of their guilt, all of their debt. All of it poured out. What the fuck? This is really. What the fuck? After a long time, Wang Hankai finally cursed with a twisted face. However, the strange feeling in his heart did not disappear. The bomb that had been hidden for so long and so deep was actually successfully detonated by him in such a way. What the fuck? What the fuck? How unlucky can I be? I'm just digging a random grave, but I actually poked a hornet's nest. The blue veins on Wang Han's forehead bulged out. He muttered angrily, randomly digging up a grave, and it has a relationship with the Lu family. Randomly looking for a target, and it has a relationship with the Yu family. Motherfucker, the next step is to randomly pick a person. Won't they directly pick the minister's head? This is simply absurd. Everyone, let's discuss how we should handle this matter. Although Wang Han was angry, he quickly calmed down. At such a critical juncture, being anxious and angry was the most useless emotion. Even though the Liu family had made it clear that they would not rest until one of them was dead, the strength of the Liu family was still lacking compared to the Wang family. Even if it was very troublesome to deal with, and if they really fought, it would be hard to avoid serious injuries, but as long as it didn't drag on for too long, it would still be bearable. And as long as he could get through the current crisis and continue the situation until the group of dragons snatched the vein, Wang Han was confident that he could completely defeat the Liu family. At that time, even if the Liu family still didn't give up and still wanted to fight to the death with the Wang family, he believed that the higher-ups would make a choice after considering the overall situation. The Liu family has already made it clear that they are enemies with the Wang family. We have to file a record with the higher-ups first. Wang Han said faintly, Wang Jun, go to the High Martial Affairs Bureau and make it clear that there may be a fight with the Liu family. The Liu family is very likely to use a similar method to challenge us to force us to make a move. Why? Wang Jun was obviously puzzled by the clan master's judgment. This kind of thing had happened many times before. Since when did it need to be filed? Time is not on my side. Now is a delicate time when the higher-ups are dissatisfied with the Wang family. If they suddenly intervene during the fight and take everyone away with the crime of breaking public order, the aftermath will be troublesome. If it really comes to that step, I estimate that the Liu family will be able to come out quickly, but our Wang family may not. Wang Han said, now is a time of trouble. It is more appropriate to plan ahead and prepare more. Since we can't avoid going against the Liu family, then we should prepare in advance. Don't give people with ulterior motives an excuse. Understood. Wang Jun sighed, appearing to be in an exceptionally heavy mood. Since when did a noble family with 10,000 years of glory have to be so careful and tiptoe? Now, it was indeed a precarious situation. Similarly, our branches and related enterprises in various places may be attacked by the Liu family. File all of them, just like how we dealt with the students from Phoenix City's second high school. It's just that the strength of the response needs to be deeper. File all the possible emergencies that may occur. It's better to prevent trouble before it happens. Understood, Clan Master. Everyone can see that the current Wang family is in a precarious situation. Many people no longer have scruples about our war god family. Wang Han faintly smiled. Although the current situation can be said to be extremely rare since the establishment of the Wang clan, it is not as if the Wang clan has not experienced similar situations and great waves. After 10,000 years, the Wang clan has always been the Wang clan, and will still be the Wang clan. This is just a small setback. What we have to do first is not to panic. That's right. That's right. Clan Master, we understand. When has our Wang family ever been afraid of anyone or any family? Just do it. The meeting was about to end. Suddenly, his phone vibrated and a message came in. Clan Master, the fourth son of the Liu family wants to challenge the fifth master. The reason is to settle the old score from 5 years ago. Currently, a letter of challenge has been sent. The location is set at the military platform in the north of the city. Wang Han glanced at it and smiled faintly. The Liu family has sent a letter of challenge. As he spoke, he let everyone take a look. His actions were calm, as if everything was under his control. Everyone prostrated themselves in admiration. The clan master just said that the Liu family might use the method of a challenge to provoke and start a fight. His words were still in their ears, and the challenge came. As expected, it was a divine strategy. It was amazing. Clan master, is the fifth son going to accept the challenge? Of course, inform the fifth son. Not only must he go, but he must also win cleanly. In this battle, all the people from the Liu family, including the fourth son of the Liu family, are not allowed to leave. Wang Han said faintly, we must use thunderous means to eradicate them in one fell swoop. Even if we have to pay a price, we can accept it. Since they dare to touch the tiger's whiskers of the Wang family, they must pay the corresponding price. Understood. Remember to be wary of ambushes. Understood. Then let's go. Zhuo Xiaoduo unhurriedly flipped through the files that the ranger had given him. The last 2 pages of the file were the records of the strength possessed by the Wang family. The content was especially detailed. Dao integration experts. On the surface, the Wang family has 2 Dao integration ancestors. Previously, the experts who had broken through to the Dao integration stage had all had official funerals, but they were probably still alive. The so-called funerals were just a smokescreen used by the Wang family to hide their strength. In this way, if the Wang family's Dao integration experts had not really died in the past 3,000 years, then there would be 6 of them, including 2 genius-level Dao integration pinnacle stage, 2 genius-level high-level Dao integration pinnacle stage, and 2 normal-level Dao integration pinnacle stage. In addition, 3,500 years ago, the 2 Dao integration experts of the Wang family had a decisive battle with someone on the thousand-ceasing peak. In the end, they self-destructed and perished together with the enemy. Not even their corpses were left. This battle is verified to be real, but the so-called self-destruction may not be real. We cannot rule out the possibility that it was an act. If it was an act, then the Wang family might have 8 Dao integration experts. Moreover, these 2 were especially powerful and had reached the legendary Dao integration pinnacle stage. We cannot rule out the possibility that they had already broken through. Also note, at that time, the 2 heavenly kings of the Wu people led 8 Dao integration shaman generals to invade. Their purpose was to let the 8 Dao integration experts break through in the battle. At that time, there was a shortage of manpower at the border, so we urgently transferred high-level inland cultivators to participate in the battle. At that time, the Wang family claimed that the 2 ancestors had perished together with the enemy and were unable to assist in the battle. However, there was no evidence to support this claim. We suspect that they were avoiding the battle. If they were really avoiding the battle, then the total number of Dao integration experts in the Wang family would be 2 more. The ranger also craned his neck to look at this line and sneered. The Wang family really has many experts. Up until now, our Yu family has only had 1 Dao integration stage patriarch at a time, yet the Wang family has so many. This is truly a spectacle. Zhuo Duo replied indifferently, they only have 2 Dao integration experts on the surface. How is that many? The fatso clicked his tongue. Who would believe that? Only an idiot would believe that. The Wang family has developed a case of persecutory paranoia in recent years. They always feel that others are trying to harm them. Thus, they are extremely cautious. They can only sleep peacefully with Dao integration stage experts watching over them. Their paranoia has already reached its final stages. There's no saving them. The ranger's tone was unusually harsh as he spoke of the Wang family. Zhuo Duo chuckled and continued to look at the number of flying heaven realm experts that the Wang family had on the surface. The information regarding the flying heaven realm cultivators became more and more detailed. Their names, ages, lives, and deeds, including how many times they had suppressed their cultivation base before breaking through, how old they were at the return to profound stage, how long they had been stuck at the flying heaven realm, and how many times they had suppressed their cultivation base. 67 flying heaven realm cultivators. Zhuo Duo was astonished. That many? How many flying heaven realm experts can an army possibly have? The ranger replied, Boss, look carefully at the information regarding their identities. Most of the information here has been erased by the fact that they are adopted or adopted children. The Wang clan is a meritorious clan, so they are allowed to retain their strength to protect the clan. This is a rule set by the country, and it is also a privilege given to meritorious clans. It is similar to how they raise private soldiers in novels. The Wang family is taking advantage of this loophole. Chapter 11:19. Zhuo Duo frowned. Is this number accurate? It's at least 90% accurate. At the very least, all the veteran ascension experts are included here. It's just that it's relatively unclear if they've made a breakthrough in the past 5 years. This is because cultivators who have just broken through the bottleneck of the ascension realm have to go into seclusion for a period of time to stabilize their realm. Usually, a breakthrough on the battlefield takes about 3 months to stabilize. This is because at that time, Many of them will be injured and will easily fall back to their original realm. The Wang clan is the most cowardly and afraid of death. Naturally, they'll be even more cautious about this. They'll settle down for 3 to 5 years, and even wait until they've reached the intermediate level of the Ascension realm or are close to it before they can feel at ease. Therefore, in these 5 years, as long as they don't show themselves, it's naturally impossible to calculate. However, according to probability, this number of 37, if at most 10 more were to be added to it, it would already be incredible. After some consideration, he lowered the number of Wang clan's flying heavens to this number. This has been revised. The wanderer pondered for a moment and said, I can guarantee that this number is not missing at all. Right? I don't know if it's because the Wang clan doesn't care about their own cultivation realm, but according to the data, almost none of the members of the Wang clan have suppressed their cultivation realm more than 7 times in the Guixian realm. The first 4 have suppressed their Ascension realm 7 times, while the others have suppressed their Ascension realm 6 times or 5 times. The last one has suppressed his Ascension realm 2 times. This one is the most unlucky one. It said that he got too excited when he was having sex with a new concubine and suddenly broke through. It said that after breaking through that night, the female martial artist was crushed into a meat patty by the overflowing true yuan and became a joke. The wanderer's smile was very wretched. Zhuo Xiaoyan blushed. She rolled her eyes at this guy and turned her face away. Zhuo Xiaoduo was in high spirits. Oh, there's such a thing? Tell me in detail. I love this kind of gossip the most. Tell me in detail. Before he finished speaking, a bone-piercing pain came from his thigh. Zhuo Xiaoduo opened his mouth wide. It was so painful that his tongue stiffened in his mouth. His whole body was stiff and trembling slightly as Zhuo Xiaoyan had gathered her spiritual energy and pinched his thigh hard. This pinch was merciless. Even with Zhuo Xiaoduo's well-honed body, he could not withstand it and almost screamed out loud. Seeing this scene, the wandering hero was so scared that his face turned pale. He hurriedly shut his mouth, afraid that he would be implicated and suffer an unexpected calamity. Zhuo was already in such a state. If it were her own small arms and legs, she would be lucky to have one of them twisted off. She would also be frozen into powder the moment Zhuo touched her. Zhuo Xiaoyan finally loosened her grip and snorted heavily. Zhuo Xiaoduo's hands quickly rubbed his thighs. The ranger lowered his head and slurped down a bowl of kanji. Oh my god. It must hurt a lot. But I can't laugh. I must not laugh. If I laugh now, I might not have the chance to laugh again in the future. The meal in the heavenly palace lasted for a long time. The 3 of them chatted and ate, accompanied by the endless fireworks outside. It was not until 2 hours later that it gradually came to an end. The last 2 bottles of the heavenly spirit wine that the ranger had brought were now finished, but the phone suddenly rang. The ranger did not hesitate and quickly picked it up. He did not have any intention of avoiding Zhuo Xiaoduo. The other side of the phone seemed to say something very hurriedly. The ranger listened calmly and finally replied, "Okay, I got it." He hung up the phone and said to Zhuo Xiaoduo, "There's something interesting going on tonight. I think Zhuo will be interested." Zhuo Xiaoduo held the wine glass and turned it in his hand. "Oh? What's so interesting?" According to the latest news, the 4th son of the Lu family is going to challenge the 5th son of the Wang family tonight. It's said that they want to settle an old score from a few years ago. The life and death match will be held at the Dingjun stage in the north of the city. The little fatty chuckled and said, "The Lu family, who never liked to compete, has really gone crazy this time. It's a feeling of anger that has been suppressed for decades, suddenly erupting. It's scary." Zhuo Xiaoduo took a deep breath. The Lu family? They took the initiative to challenge the Wang family? His gaze became serious and he said slowly, "Why? There has to be a reason, right?" It said that old Principal He Yuanyue is actually the youngest daughter of the head of the Lu family. The ranger narrowed his eyes and said, "I've already asked them to gather information about this. There will be a report soon." Zhuo Xiaoduo breathed a sigh of relief and looked out the window, saying, "So, that's it?" His thoughts drifted away in an instant. He vaguely remembered that He Yuanyue's real name was Lu Qianqian. It turned out that the respectable old man was actually from such a prestigious family. But this also explained why the old principal had nurtured so many successful students. It was possible that the Lu family had secretly contributed to this. How could there be no reason for every bird to peck? 10 minutes later, a new document was sent to the ranger's phone. The ranger opened it and handed it to Zuoxiao Duo without even looking at it. Inside was an extremely detailed introduction of He Yuanyue, from her birth to her death, from her identity as a noble daughter of the Lu family, to how she met Qin Fangyang, to how she was plotted against, how she faked her death, hid her identity, and went to Phoenix City to spend the rest of her life. Everything that happened in her life was recorded in detail. He Yuanyue's real name was Lu Qianqian. She was the youngest and only daughter of the head of the Lu family, Lu Yingfeng. She had a good aptitude since she was young. When she grew up, she entered the High Martial Arts Academy to gain experience. She was betrayed and seriously injured. The Lu family tried their best to find the elixir but to no avail. After waiting for a few years, Lu Qianqian finally knew that there was no hope. She chose to fake her death and part ways with her lover. She went to Phoenix City and established the second high school in He Yuanyue's name. Principal He refused all help from his family. He was even more afraid that Qin Fangyang would find him because of his family, so he begged his family not to contact him. The Lu family was still secretly investing $5 billion in Phoenix City's second high school under the guise of charity. They also secretly sent experts to take care of it. When Qin Fangyang came to Phoenix City to become a teacher, He Yuanyue was afraid of being exposed and forced the Lu family to withdraw. When He Yuanyue passed away, the head of the Lu family and his wife rushed to Phoenix City and stayed there for 15 days. Finally, they found an opportunity to visit their daughter's grave in the pouring rain. It was night and the rain was pouring, but there was no water around He Yuanyue's grave until the wind stopped and the rain stopped. Later, because of He Yuanyue's last wish, the Lu family secretly helped Qin Fangyang enter the ancestral Dragon High School and planned to fight for the heritage, fulfilling He Yuanyue's last wish. Among the 3 people who secretly plotted against He Yuanyue and Qin Fangyang, 2 of them were killed by Qin Fangyang. The 3rd person was under the surveillance of the Lu family. At first, the Lu family intended to let Qin Fangyang take revenge personally. However, when the news of Qin Fangyang's death spread, that person was personally executed by the head of the Lu family. When they heard that He Yuanyue's grave was destroyed, the entire Lu family was filled with anger and started a secret investigation. Until Zuoshuai's company launched an action to denounce the Wang family. After many investigations, the Lu family finally targeted the Wang family for revenge. After confirming that they were enemies, the Lu family immediately took action and targeted them from all sides. A group of students who graduated from the second high school rushed to Shangjing to seek revenge for He Yuanyue. As the Wang family did not dare to kill them, they only captured them and sent them to the law office. The Lu family immediately took action and came forward to take all of them out. After treating them, they let them go. Lu Yingfeng once said very frankly that this was not to buy people's hearts to strengthen their foundation, but for Principal He. Principal He's students should not be killed unjustly. Everyone was voluntarily treated and settled down. They did not ask for any requests. Their only request was, could they write down their past contact with Principal He? There were more than 90 men in the Lu family. Except for the 40 at the Sun Moon Pass and the 20 that had already passed away, there were still 30 men at home. From all directions, online and offline, business competition, assassination, face-to-face battle, directly destroying the scene. They used all kinds of methods and unscrupulous methods to carry out crazy revenge on the Wang family. Revenge for my little sister. This was the voice of the Lu family. My little sister is dead. Qin Fangyang is also dead. My little sister's secret, the secret that made us feel sad and guilty for decades, we finally don't have to keep it a secret anymore. The Lu family only felt a breath that had been suppressed for decades suddenly released. That was an extreme emotion mixed with infinite hatred in the heart. There must be a target to vent it on. The Wang family. If this anger could not burn the Wang family to the ground, then it would burn the Lu family to the ground. Zhou Xiaoyan and Zhou Xiaoduo watched quietly. Both of them felt that their hearts were beating fast. It was a kind of indescribable warm excitement. Zhou Xiaoyan said softly, "The old principal has students all over the world, and the Phoenix Pulse Soul Empress. With the emergence of geniuses like you, the old principal's reputation has been rising in the whole continent. But the Lu family has never made any sound before." Zhou Xiaoduo nodded slowly. He understood Zhou Xiaoyan's meaning immediately. The Lu family did not intend to use He Yuanyue's reputation to gain any benefits. They just silently gave, silently protected, silently took care of, and silently watched from afar. Finally, today, they began their earth-shattering revenge. This was enough to prove their integrity and their original intentions. The Lu family. What is this family like? Is there corruption? Are they using their power for personal gain? Let's not talk about those first. At least for now, they have done this with a clear conscience. Zhou Xiaoduo said in a rare deep voice, "In particular, we can't deny that the Lu family has done us and the entire Phoenix City a favor." Zhou Xiaoyan was quiet, the corner of her mouth holding a smile. "You mean to be honest? It won't be right if we don't join in the fun tonight." Zhou Xiaoduo laughed. "I still like to watch the fun." "You also like to join in the fun?" The ranger narrowed his eyes and smiled. "Zhua and I have the same temper. I also like to watch the fun, and I like to join in the fun even more." Chapter 11:20. Then what are we waiting for? What time is the appointment? It's 1 o'clock in the middle of the night. It's not even 11 o'clock yet. There's still plenty of time. Sai, let's go first. We're the ones who arrived first. Whatever happens later, those who arrive first will naturally have a share. But the three of them stood up immediately. On the side, the Yu family's guards were dumbfounded again. What kind of godly operation was this? Those who arrive first will naturally have a share? That made sense. Weren't they just helping the Lu family to step on the Wang family? How could they say that? Why did they want to go and watch the show? Was this kind of show something that could be watched casually? Not to mention others, how could Zhu just watch the show? This guy's murderous aura was so thick that his face could not be seen clearly. When he went, he would definitely make a move. Once he made a move, it would be a killing move. Look at your bootlicker face. Needless to say, as long as you go, we will definitely make a move together with Swa. The point was not that you make a move, but if you make a move, would we be able to stay idle? We have to make a move together with you. And the result of this move would not be a battle between the Lu family and the Wang family. The Yu family was originally here to watch the show. Their position was neutral. But with your interference, it was tantamount to playing the role of the protagonist. What the hell? Young master, this is a dangerous place. Ahem, I hope you will reconsider. The guard leader reminded him in a very reserved manner. It's okay. With me, Zhua, and sister-in-law here, nothing will happen to me. I'm very safe. Cough cough. This is a matter of great importance to both families. It's easy to stir up a lot of trouble and follow up. It's okay. Is our Yu family afraid of trouble? What kind of trouble can't our Yu family handle? But what's there to buts about? If you're afraid, go back first. I'll go with Zhua. Zhua's sister-in-law will naturally protect me. The guard was completely speechless. Is this what you're talking about? Go back? Or you? Who are we? You, the young master, rushed to the front line. As guards, we have to go back? Was this even a problem? We have to go. The guard leader said helplessly, protecting you is our duty. Look, you also said that I have to go, so how can I not go? Little hero, you said, I have to go with you. You don't trust me, and I don't trust you to go alone. The guard leader's face was so dark that it couldn't get any darker. He didn't feel well at all. Is that how you interpret it? How did it become my responsibility when your upper and lower lips touched? Young master, I'm not. Understood. Let's go now. The earlier we get there, the better place to watch the show. The little fatty stood up without hesitation. Zhuxiaoduo's group brought along the 4 guards and left the Sky Palace as if they were flying. Before he left, little fatty reminded him, "Don't stop the fireworks. Keep them going until dawn." The boss of Heaven Palace agreed readily. This was a small matter. The Dingjun platform on the other side was a huge square. In the past, this place was used for the ceremony of swearing an army to go to war. That was why it was called the Dingjun platform. It was also the military's territory. However, with the increasing modernization, there were fewer and fewer occasions that required everyone to come for swearing an army. There was no need for such a big place for training. Not only had part of the place been greened, some rockery decorations had also been piled up. Gradually, it became a place for sightseeing. Especially for some of the rich second-generation's racing battles, they would prioritize this place. The place was big and spacious. Zhuxiaoduo and the other 4 arrived quickly. It was not even 11:30 yet. It was still far from the appointed time of the Liu and Wang families. Over there, over there. Little fatty saw the tallest rockery and ran over excitedly with a few people. This place had a high vantage point. It was the best place to watch the show. No, it was the best place to watch the battle. In the end, they went over to take a look. "Fuck. Little hero," you said angrily, "what does it have to do with your family? Why are you here so early to occupy this place? Who are you trying to ambush?" It turned out that this place had already been taken by someone else. When the young man who had taken the lead saw Little Hero Yu's arrival, his face instantly twisted. He obviously knew Little Hero Yu, that when the other party saw Little Hero Yu, he did not dare to delay. He stood up and said, "Young Master Yu, what are you doing here?" "I'm here to watch the show. I think this place is pretty good. It's just that there are a lot of people. Can you guys change to another place?" Little fatty said matter-of-factly. Cough cough. "All right." The person did not hesitate at all. He quickly led his people away. "Thanks a lot. I'll treat you to a meal when I'm free," Little Hero Yu shouted. "Which family are they from?" Zhuxiaoduo asked. "They're from the Wu family." Little fatty said, "They must be here to watch the show. This show will definitely be exciting. We're not the only ones who want to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight." Zhuxiaoduo was speechless. Were all the aristocratic families in Shangjing so free? A battle to the death between 2 families, and there were actually, so many people watching. Because, after the Wu family left, they did not leave the place. Instead, they retreated to a few trees. However, when they chose a few large trees with dense foliage and huge canopies to climb up, they immediately started arguing. There were already many people hiding in the canopies. Seeing that the Wu family had chosen more than 10 trees in succession, and there were actually people on them, Zhuxiaoduo directly became Spartan. How many aristocratic families were watching from the sidelines? Did they really think they were watching a show? Even if the 2 trees were a family, after the series of events just now, at least 10 families would be watching from the sidelines. Fuck this. Little Hero Yu was also speechless. Seeing that the 6 people from the Wu family could not find a place to hide, they actually turned back and found a small rockery next to the largest rockery to lean on. Little Hero Yu could not help but ask, "Who are they? So many people? Are they all so free?" That person from the Wu family sounded very depressed. Except for the Wang family and the Liu family, the top 10 families are basically all here. Is it really that popular? Little Hero Yu, what are they all here for? I don't know, probably a few families are going to take action. What about your Wu family? Our Wu family will see the situation and respond accordingly. Not only Zhuxiaoduo and Zhuxiaonian were dumbfounded, but even Little Hero Yu was confused. Judging from the Wu family's tone, see the situation? See what situation? How would they respond to the situation? Was he planning to make a move as well? Little Hero Yu scratched his head, and so did Little Hero Zhua. They originally wanted to secretly watch the show and join in the fun, but in the end, it directly looked like a sea of people. So far, this battle between the main characters and the future had forcibly created a feeling of a popular celebrities concert. The main characters had not yet arrived, but the audience was already full. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.